yes, here we go. Okay. Hey, everyone. So I figured I could sit in bed whining that I'm sick, or I could come do a live because I don't know what it was that happened overnight, but all of a sudden I got like an eye cold or whatever and stuff like that. And I just was like, oh, I just don't want to stay in bed. There's Bambi behind me. Hey, say hi, Bambi girl. Yeah, she always wants my attention. Anyways, so I figured because I was, of course, thinking over things last night, and I'm sure lots of you guys are very inquisitive, of course, of what's going on with this case with Jack and Lily. So, first, I want to say please give a like and a share. Please do it for Jack and Lily, um, never for the sake of the channel. Always just do it for the murdered and the missing. Because you guys, thank you guys last night for all the likes that you guys gave, and if you guys did shares as well. It really just helps, eh? And so, of course, we're talking about Jack and Lily, and I want to give before we start, of course, a special thank you to Belinda, the paternal grandmother of Jack and Lily, and of course, all the information that her and, say, Daniel have both given to the channel. Very much appreciative. I always respect that. And thank you so much for, like I said, just information, insight. That's all I ever seek is just, when you're following a case, for me personally, I'm like that little detective person that likes to just dig and dig and dig and try to get answers to understand why something seems so off or so weird. And I honestly expected that this case would have been resolved by now, to be honest with you. And the longer it goes on, the more, of course, you worry because you never want to see it be one of these cases that, sometimes they have answers, but sometimes there's not enough evidence and stuff like that. Or maybe they're, don't have answers at all and they're still trying to figure it out themselves. But who knows? I'll still keep my faith, though. Give you guys some shout outs. Hi, Lily. Oh, totally understand it because I'm a customer service agent. do it do it all the time. A lot of work. Well, it's a lot of mental work is what I want to say. It's not like people are calling in going, how are you today? Are you having a good day? Well, sometimes people do, but it's always about an issue, right? Anyways, please hit that like and the share. Thank you guys so much. And forever who was here yesterday, I hope it was, more informative, of course, with information from Malaya's text to Belinda, the paternal grandmother. So uh, just to reiterate a little bit here. So Malaya, her mom is Cindy Murray, okay? Her dad is Henry Joseph Brooks. So that's Malaya's side there. And then on, of course, Belinda's side, Belinda's the paternal, bio grandmother, however you want to say that, and her son Cody, which I guess we can say now since it was in the thing. So it's, again, I want to reiterate, it's not Cody Lee Sullivan. That was a different Cody. Her son's name is Cody Sullivan. But so anyway, so that's who that is. And of course, we don't speak about him, okay? So make that very clear. Because at the end of the day, if I honestly felt like there was anything to that right from the start, I would have digged. But there's lots of times I just don't waste my time. I'm not here to waste my time or energy on things that I think are pointless. I always just want to travel down avenues that, at least, try to go down and find something. So I never felt at all that the bio dad had anything to do with the children's disappearance, especially since he would have been one of the people looked at right away. But anyways, and so then Daniel Martell, obviously him and Malaya, he's considered the stepfather in Jack and Lily's life. They have a child named Meadow together that's about 16-month old, and his mom is named Janie, and his dad is named Earl. And so, anyways, and his mom and dad aren't together. She lives in the fifth wheel that's on the property. Sometimes I think stays in the house, according to Belinda. I think that was. But other than that, I think that kind of clears it up. So now I'm just going to quickly go down. Hi, Anne. Hi, Fairplay. How are you? There's Kent. Kent, biggest hugs to you with everything there. Miss Dog Lover's in the house. Hi, Maltese Cross on there. And let's see. Oh, there she is. Hi, Melissa. How you doing today, girl? Mama Angie, I was just watching Sadie's whole video. Did you, you know, put your thoughts, whatever you felt about it? There's Sharon Parker's in the house. Hi, Rena. 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 Little Mama. Lizette. Hi, how are you? Linda. Sharon. Okay, I'm just trying to go down now to people's. Hi, Janet. How are you? Janet. Hmm. There was somebody that left me a $2. On the lives, you can click that little heart thing. For some reason, your name's ringing a bell to me on that. Was that you, Janet? Because it was pretty similar, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, I just remember seeing it as I was going through comments on there. So if it was, thank you. If it wasn't, thank you anyway. Hi, Garnetta. How are you? Hi, Rhonda. How are you? Yeah, no problem. Absolutely. Done. Thank you so much. Dog's Karma. Dog, so just to let you know, I did get a copyright claim for the music that was in that, so I had to replace it out of there. I was kind of expecting it to as soon as I heard that song, to be honest with you. But all good. I just, when it gave me the copyright claim for that your tribute video, then like I said, I just went in. And then you can, with those ones, you can just edit them and take the music out and replace it or just eliminate. So anyways, thank you for that beautiful tribute for Jack and Lily yesterday. Appreciate that. Uh, and anyone too. There's a couple people that messaged me on my It's a Crime and Shame messenger on there. Thank you guys for that as well. Um, and thank you for, I think it was, Dipple? No, I always forget the name. Anyways, thank you for everyone that, does send in some information, Valerie, Brenda and stuff like that. Just shout outs, right, guys? People, so there's some people that really like to be helpful. Let me put it that way. And it's appreciated, Sometimes it saved me the extra legwork, in doing some things when I'm looking for something. So I appreciate that. Same with Kent. Thank you so much. This way, holy shit, your name is long. This the way we roll, aka Random Star. That's how we roll. That's right. That's how we roll. No, ma'am, not me. Okay, well, it was similar. Okay, I'll tell you that. Because I'm pretty sure the start of the name was Janet. So, and only because of the, anyways, it was very similar. But let's just pretend like you did. Even though I still like to give the proper shout out. I'd have to go back and look. I'll make sure I do it on the next slide. Good afternoon. Glad to catch you live. Hi, Sylvie. How are you? Hi, AI Henry. How are you? Whoops, where did you go? Where'd you go, AI? That wasn't it. That wasn't it. Where'd you go? There you are. Good afternoon, girl. We love you here. Well, okay, fine. You can love me. It's okay too. Anyways, okay. So, kind of what today I wanted to do a little bit. I'm just like right now is just very like when I say random means that of course it wasn't a plan live or anything like that. I just thought, I want to really go over the Logan's live that she did on TikTok. I want to go over that. I want to go back over these messages of Malaya and go over back of these messages from Daniel. And I want to ask you guys as well what you guys like. Okay, I got the poll up. Okay, so, and the reason I didn't put everyone is because I really wanted to see where people thought about who has the most red flags here. So, what are we looking at so far? We got 36 votes, and so far, Malaya has the most red flags, right? And that's understandable, to be honest, because when you look at it, just when you look at it initially, especially, you just instantly everyone that interview, it's hard to go past that, but I know that I always have to look past that interview, and still try to sort things out about what makes sense, you know so out of everything that we've given you guys for content or whatever, or anything that what do you guys think? What one thing is the one thing that you guys think is the biggest red flag to you? right? What's that one big thing? Or however you want to do it. One big thing for Daniel, or one big thing for Malaya, or just that one thing that really bugs you about, I mean, I know we can all say the interview of Malaya's. Hi, Denise. How are you? Hi, Rami, on there. I'm going to give a shout out again to Evil Exists. Again, thank you for the coverage and doing it under your own perspective when you do your videos, but still keeping it real with the content. And again, everything is on the table. There's nothing that's not on the table, whether it's Daniel, whether it's Malaya, whether it's Cindy Murray, right? Anyone that, or Janie Mackenzie, which is Daniel's mother, everything is still on the table because there are no answers. Now, neither of them might have anything to do with the disappearance of Jack and Lily. I find that extremely, myself, in my own personal opinion, hard to believe at this point, because when you look at the other options, they just seem extremely unlikely. I can't think of a single mother that would be not. Oh, go look at Katie Proudfoot in Sebastian Rogers' case, right? Oh, these people, these mothers exist. Don't get me wrong, they exist. And I, myself, I have one child, and my son, he's 28 years old now. And as soon as my son was born, it was my job to love him, bring him up with proper morals and guidance. It was just my job to be the best mother that I could possibly be, protect him. Same with when I looked after my niece, my twin sister's youngest, because Haley was 6 months younger than Matthew. So when I was babysitting Haley again, she's a double child. Don't get me wrong, that little redheaded thing. But anyways, but it was my job to always protect and take care of, right? I could never imagine hiding behind closed doors, right? So that's what I'm saying. If Daniel is telling the truth, then you keep voicing it. If it's really about Lily and Jack, then you don't shut up, right? You don't care who gets in your way. You don't shut up. Think of Dylan Round's mom, okay? What's her name again? I always get it wrong. I just want to say Candy or something like that. Anyways, Dylan Round's mom, pure epitome of someone that doesn't give a shit. She just wants to find her son, and there was nothing that was going to stop her. And same with the father. They were like, even though they weren't together and they had different relationships, they pulled together, and all they wanted was answers to, once they realized who took their son's life, basically he was trying to barter. Now, they finally did kind of barter with him, and then he said where Dylan Rounds' body was, but she never shut up. You could never shut me up at all, zero. So if Daniel is being truthful, okay, if he is being truthful, then you need to get your shit with Malaya out of your head, and then you need to make it about Jack and Lily, and stop making it seem like you're the freaking hero of everything. And you might very well be, okay? Don't get me wrong. I mean, because it's easy for us to say that somebody is talking about themselves, right? I mean, people say that to me as if, as if I'm sort of a narcissist on my own channel and stuff like that, right? Sorry, heaven forbid if this channel is about talking about stuff, talking with you guys and stuff like that. Like, those people can honestly go fly a kite, could care less about that. But it could be portrayed that the things he's saying is narcissistic, kind of somebody that's a little bit self-absorbed, or maybe not. Maybe it's just simply the truth, about how the situation was there. We don't know, but I like still to look at everything. But what I'm saying to Daniel is, if it's really about Jack and Lily, then you need to put Malaya to the back burner where she belongs, and Malaya needs to bring her ass to the front and talk about her missing children. I'm sorry, but in my eyes, that is so pathetic, because these are your children. This is what gets me, is that these are your children. They're nobody else's besides Cody's. but these are your children. And if Daniel's being truthful and he's the one searching for your children, then that's just so disgusting in my eyes, if that's the case. It might not be the case, but either way, you wouldn't be able to hide me, shut me up from my child being missing. So I don't respect what's going on here when it comes to Malaya. We don't know what she's going through, but I'm sorry, you ain't no poor victim. You and Daniel, you guys are at least negligent of not looking after those kids properly. Bottom line, you guys didn't do your job. That's why they're missing. Make no mistake about it. That's why they're missing. That's how her family is so quiet. Cindy's involvement. Hi, Donna. Her leaving. That's a side turn. I stumbled over my tongue for a sec. I still believe my theory of accidental and then cover up of self-preservation, but I'm also a little suspect of, I'd like to know if Malaya called her mother before she called the police. Right. Kent, that's my number one red flag right now, is that right there. How true is that? How true is this? Like I said, because if it's true that Cindy Murray arrived, right, 16 minutes after that 911 call was made, and she lives an hour and something away, and she was on her phone, if we believe Daniel. Remember, this is if we believe Daniel. So it's kind of like, was this a plan already, right? And then you know how things go. Okay, think about that case in United Kingdom, right? The mom reports her daughter missing. This is now in this case, not Jack and Lily's, but in the case in the UK, I think it was, what was it, Shannon? Can't think of the name. Anyways, but the mom deems her daughter as missing. This is all for the sake of money. She hides her daughter at her brother's house, at the uncle's house. So she's doing this whole, type of thing, like, right? Searchers everywhere, scouring for this daughter. And here she hid her for the sake of money at her brother's house, talking about the laughing ass stock of their freaking entire, whatever it was, village that she lived in, So sometimes things get out of hand, but what did they expect? But anyway, so that's my biggest, one of my biggest red flags is that, for sure. And, my biggest red flag with Daniel is that, why isn't he allowed to see his children? Why, if he's saying that Malaya couldn't look at him, is it because and I'm just going by thoughts at the moment, guys. Is it because he was supposed to be taking care of the children, like we've said before? But I like kind of what Greg mentioned on Sadie's channel yesterday, was Daniel up, decided to go back to sleep, fell asleep, and basically, so Malay is blaming him, for him, type of thing. But in saying that, so it was on the 3rd that Malaya, right, left with her mother after the briefing or whatever. But so is it something to do with the fact that, again, that Malaya was blaming Daniel? Was he supposed to be looking after the children? Is that what this look of contempt or whatever it is was, where she couldn't even seem to look at him anymore, and then takes off? Everything changes, right? Did her mom get in her ear? Like, there's something weird. I want to know why, if it's true, why this mother managed to get there as soon. Okay. Because like I said, I know that there is some more info that we didn't show you and stuff like that. But make no mistake about it. Daniel and Malaya's mom, Cindy, they do not, like, it's not that Daniel, I don't think, it's not like he didn't want to have a relationship, but there's clearly, no love lost there between those two. And like, kind of, and this is, again, We have to take this with a grain of salt because we don't know the true answers. But I'm probably sure it's clear that maybe there's something about Daniel that Cindy just simply didn't like. Is Daniel, did Cindy see right through who Daniel truly is, type of thing? That's what I'm trying to understand. But you need to look at everything that's being said, and that's the part that sucks, is because you want somebody to be being truthful out of all this, and you don't know which one is, because it's like two things are happening. Hi, new here. Who is covered their tracks? Whoever is responsible has really covered their tracks. Well, we'll see, eh? Hi, Native Girl. Welcome. Hi, H Doc. Her lack of emotion in the interview and her text, right? As a mom, I wouldn't have left. They would have to drag me away. Well, again, you know, I would really like to understand that situation, right? Because if it's one of those things where Malaya did blame Daniel for why those children were missing, hypothetically, allegedly, right? If she did, right? And would you want to be on the property if you really felt like your other half, was responsible? I think some people react a certain way. Maybe, I don't know, right? I mean, like, the thing is, when something like this happens, right? There's people that can bond together because they know, like, they had no responsibility, and but they feel guilty because obviously the guilt weighs in that their child just disappeared, even if they just turned around for a split second in that. And then there's other people, kind of like can't think of which case. It's oh my goodness, Melissa would know it. It's Elizabeth and Lyric case, right? Where families just literally get ripped apart because of blaming each other and stuff like that. Okay, say Mary. Vicky. Hi, Vicky. It's Malaya's lack of emotion and tone in her voice. It's also backed up with her messages to Belinda that seemed to tell the story she had for it. Now, what if we took a look at it maybe perhaps this way, though? What if Malaya's upbringing was so emotionally cold and a dictatorship for a mom, right? And she basically lacked emotions, lacked empathy, really, you know? Maybe it's the postpartum stuff, that she had going on. But again, it's like I got to think of it all, right? I just got to put it, all we're ever doing is trying to make sense of this. We're trying to make sense out of nonsense. That was the title of this live, because that's what it feels like. It feels like just a bunch of nonsense. You don't know which shit is true. And you're just trying to, like, it's like in my head, I'm just trying to go, okay, so I got this over here for Malaya and this over here for Daniel, this over here for the mother, and you're just sitting there going, okay, which one seems more likely to be true? I just don't believe that they are alive and it's a cover up on the mom's side, and very much might not be, you know, and they'll be culpable and liable for the resources and money that was spent. Well, absolutely. Look at that. And again, I'm really bad with names after I haven't covered the case in a while. But you remember that black girl out of oh frick, where was it? See, I can't remember that part. Anyways, she faked her own abduction, right? She said that there was a 2-year-old or something toddler going down the highway, right? And then all of a sudden she played this abduction. Why did she do this, guys? Oh my God. So she had everyone looking for her resources. Why? It was because she just wanted to make her ex-boyfriend miss her. Who thinks to do shit like that? Fucktards, that's who. Who, like, seriously? Like, these people exist in the world. They're so freaking self-absorbed that she didn't care that she claimed she was abducted, and then she jaunts on home a couple days later like, oh yeah, I managed to escape. Yeah, if what, it was the most ridiculous shit. But these people do that stuff. You know what? Like I said, in true crime, that you never say never, because we got the Valo case to prove that. We got the Delphi case to prove that, but especially the warped ass Valo case. Okay, you want to talk about freaking zombies? So I just want to say this, okay? Canadians, we don't live around zombies. In the States, people build zombie shelters and stuff like that, right? It's kind of a little bit of a running joke because never ever have I heard about all these zombies that I have heard in the States and people actually building shelters and thinking that this big old, freaking zombie attack's going to happen. I was like, are you people kidding me? And then you meet someone like Lori Vallow, the Lori Vallow case, and you're like, you freaking people do exist. No wonder people are building zombie shelters and shit like that, because you weird ass people actually exist on this planet. That Vallow case, honestly, holy, right? Like warped beyond belief. And you don't even think that these people even exist in the world. So I tell you, if you ever need help with your zombie shelters, you just come over to Canada, or we'll come over there and help you. Maybe we should have some of those. What if Daniel wanted to go back to the beginning with Malaya, but without her 2 kids? Maybe. Remy's not seeing that way myself, personally, only because I just kind of, I don't see it, to be honest. I think it's just because of seeing him with his other kids as well. I'm seeing somebody that actually cares about kids, to be honest with you. That's what I'm seeing. Okay. And I'm probably, am I too far behind? Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God, you guys. I'm like way up there. Okay. I had to scroll all the way down. So sorry for people's that I missed along the way, but sometimes blah, 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 and then I get too far behind. Okay. You know what? What I want to do first. Okay. I want to play the recording of Logan's, because we never went over it a bit finer the other night. So, but before I do that, I am just going to, just for the sake of it, you guys, I want to do Jack and Lily's tribute awareness video. That way it gives me a second just to go do something, to be honest with you. But I want to play that because, again, it's out by itself in the videos, you guys. So if you guys could, whoever hasn't liked or shared it, just an awareness video for Lily and Jack, okay? They're all exceptional interrogators in law enforcement. I know they exist, but interrogations don't seem to be happening. I don't know. Again, they are. Don't worry, they are. I'll tell you that much. Okay, so let's do that.
A little girl and a boy went missing one day. It was on Friday morning, the 2nd of May. People went searching in the woods there and back for 2 little children named Lily and Jack. The girl was just 6 years, the boy he was 4. While others were sleeping, they walked out the door. As time it went by and turned into days, no sign of those children, the news it did say. Where's Lily and Jack? Where can they be? So sad and heartbreaking for each family. Not a trace or a sound from Lily or Jack, who walked out the door and they never came back. Lansdowne Station, it was their own. In Nova Scotia, there they did roam. Let's not forget them and let us pray for those 2 little children still missing today. Where's Lily and Jack? Where can they be? So sad and heartbreaking for each family. Not a trace or a sound from Lily or Jack. Who walked out the door and they never came back. Who walked out the door and they never came back.
Okay, there we go. Thank you guys. Actually, I was gonna play Logan's thing first. Hold on, I got my thing right. Okay, but I think I actually, I think I want to go to Daniel's stuff first, to be honest with you, and then go to Logan's. I think you stop whining down there, kitty cats. Yeah, don't need that. Don't need that. Okay, so 1 second here. Do 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 do. You just hush over there, Bambi. Do, 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 do. No, don't you be. No, don't you be whining. No, 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 no. No. Okay, give me a second. I just got to pull up Daniel's stuff there. Home. Okay, this is Daniel's here. Okay. Okay, so let's do that. Present, share screen. What are you doing? You don't talk to mommy like that. No. Okay. Okay, let's see. Can you guys see that okay? Okay. I'll make it bigger. Here, I'll take off the banner as well again. 1 second. Nope. Not happening, Bambi. Okay. Why is it I can barely darn right see this? Oh, I think am I on my own darn page here? I think so. Oh, there we go. Okay. Can you guys see that okay? Okay. There we go. Now I can read it. Okay. I'm not going to read all of Charmaine's stuff there. I just want to get to the finer points of what Daniel said. Okay. So we're only going to read Daniel's stuff on this particular part of it. So to Charmaine, he said, I appreciate your support. I truly do. But like I said, I happily decline due to the YouTube not having laws and guidelines that are enforced like the news networks. I've had many channels that have millions of subscribers ask me and I decline. Thank you for reaching out though. So, think about that though, guys. Okay. Just give me a second. Again, we're going to kind of talk through it too. But I do want you to think about that because you know darn well that Daniel has a bunch of people that were messaging him or whatever, asking him, and he didn't. Okay. So he that was happening in YouTube land. You know that that's definitely going on. Again, this is to me really because Charmaine used the word Belinda, right? And Belinda had told Daniel that, that we were a good, honest channel. Okay. So when I first messaged Daniel, I just had said, I just said something nice, to be honest with you. It was only after the fact of when Charmaine told me she, what she had said, then I was like, well, why is he not answering me? So I used the word Belinda, like, it's a crime and shame, I've been talking to, Belinda, Nope, still didn't add me on there. So I was like, okay, no big deal, right? Charmaine, go at it, right? Obviously, if he's talking to you. But obviously, I think that he had all these channels to go to if he really wanted to, but he's been using the news. Okay. And I get that. Trust me, when you work in true crime, honestly, so I understood that. So I just want to, in a sense, put this into your mind to think, because it is true that there would have been lots of people messaging him. It's just the fact that Belinda, I believe, is because we were talking with her and she had said that, which, maybe, like I said, connected Daniel to talk with Charmaine, right? Because we are just a smaller channel. So really, what other reason would there be to me? Charmaine can think it's because of her sweet charm, and looks and stuff like, but honestly, I really feel it's because Belinda had told Daniel that she had been talking to us. And, so when I told Belinda that Daniel was talking to Charmaine, Belinda actually was a little bit shocked because her kind of impression from Daniel was that, like, thank you, but no thank you type of thing. And I was like, oh, okay. So that's just to put a little bit of reference to that, right? So I just want people to think of it, right, non-judgmentally, of Daniel and Malaya, in a sense, when we're looking at these things, and just keep an open mind to, and instead of having all these things about Malaya and Daniel, keep an open mind to, that maybe people just want to hear that Daniel is talking about himself all the time and stuff like that. Ooh, like I got all these subscribers. But think of it logically, really. So that to me is something that said a lot to me about Daniel. It was that he could have, but he chose to talk to Charmaine, which we're grateful for. Unfortunately, it ended up being more about Malaya, it seemed like, than the kids that he was worried about, but it is what it is, right? So then he says, no problem. You could try reaching out to Malaya, but her mother basically, blank there. She makes every one for her, whatever that meant exactly. Basically, I think about Malaya's mom, basically everything about her. Let's see, and then basically the media, she tells the media to leave and says Malaya is not doing media. They have a lawyer that's the chief brother from the reserve she belongs to. Lily and Jack were granted as soon as the disappearance happened, but were denied multiple times in the past. Meadow was not granted status. Sounds very odd, right? So, oh, sorry, you guys, I didn't make it bigger as I did that. So, in saying that, again, think about it in a sense logically again, that Malaya has tried 3 times to get those children status, and she was denied. Right. Right. But how much? Right. That's true. I know now this is true, that I'm not the only one that he was talking to. Um, I'm the only YouTuber, but I don't know he was talking to, but I do know he was talking to other YouTubers as well, right? Which is correct. We have proof of that. You won't see that, of course, maybe unless something changes at some point, and it's allowed to be shared. But we do have proof that he is talking, and I'm not talking about Justin's channel. I'm not talking about that one thing that he put up. Totally something different, okay? But anyways, so again, I'm just trying to, like I said, look at everything, without having the judgment there for either of them, as I'm just looking at the information. And so again, so Daniel says, odd, right? So is that odd? Hi, Donna Williams. Nova Scotia is beautiful. Absolutely is. Right? How is it? According to Daniel's words, remember, these are just the words. So wouldn't that be strange that the children get granted status after the fact? And yet, right? So according to Belinda, she said Daniel was quite put off by that. That seems like a normal reaction, to be quite put off by that. You don't say I'm live here, live here, and it's a beautiful place. There are areas that are more poverty and drugs, but that's true of any place. That's absolutely correct. Okay, so sorry guys, let me make that bigger. I thought I had it bigger still as I was reading that. Okay. Hey Charmaine, working hard? Charmaine, I woke up with a freaking eye cold and sore throat this morning. I blame you. Okay, so, okay. And then it says, I only wish I could tell you the fine details surrounding Malaya and her family and the disappearance. I'll let you know that Malaya was set to stay with me. Okay, right? And the baby to leave with my cousin. But 5 minutes alone with her mother after the first search briefing, Malaya completely changed. She couldn't even look at me. An hour before this, Malaya told RCMP she felt the happiest and safest with me and it was a different Malaya. Okay, that was clearly said in the interview or that Logan did. Okay, all of that was said. So again, we're not here to play games about this now. It's either you believe it or you don't. Obviously, people that have brain cells more than other people understand that these texts are genuine and that they're Daniel Martell talking, because his cousin is putting out that same information, regardless if you believe Daniel, his cousin, Malaya, this is what's still being said. That's the bottom line of it. And then he said, I will add some more info to the story. We lived in Truro. We moved so she could get away from her mother. Malaya couldn't stand being around her anymore. Malaya asked me many times recently in the last few months if she should cut off her mother from her life. I always said no, that's your mother. Lily always tried to take her backpack outside because it was her play backpack. My other daughter, which is 8, taught her to do that when me and all the kids would play a treasure hunt outside. One sec. Okay. So again, Daniel's basically saying that obviously that Malaya doesn't even like her mother. Doesn't even want her in her life, right? And this is, of course, Daniel's words. So this is why this is like, I'm just thinking like then logically. So isn't it strange then that Malaya, within 5 minutes, takes off with her mother, this mother that she seemed to want to distance herself from? Okay. And then on top of that, you got the backpack, and how the backpack, that they would like say play treasure hunt, all the time with his other kids as well. Now I do want to say this, and I'll get into that later. So the backpack actually wasn't said at the start. I looked at it, found what was said. The backpack wasn't said. The backpack was said on the 5th. That's when the backpack came out. But yet, and same with the clothes. Okay. So on the 3rd, it was about that Lily was probably in pink boots, pink pants, pink top, dinosaur boots, and there was here. Let me just take a look actually, and let me just see here. Okay, so Lily Sullivan had shoulder-length light brown hair with bangs. She might be wearing pink sweater, pink pants, pink boots. Jack Sullivan had shortest blondish hair. He was wearing blue dinosaur boots. No other clothing description available. Okay, so that's what was said. And then a couple days later, and like I said, so Belinda said the cousin had told her that Jack and, was it his cousin or brother? I think cousin. Were looking through the room to see what was actually missing. But this is where that's weird somewhat, right? Of course, because in the May 2nd text, that information about the backpacks there and about Jack wearing dark colored clothes. So in your head, you're thinking, hold on a second, though, because you only heard Jack in the kitchen, right? So if you only heard Jack in the kitchen and Lily had come in and out, so, and you only kind of seen like a pink shirt, but okay, let's just give it to the fact that Lily goes in the bedroom. She does have not the pink boots on at the time, but she has like, the pink top, pink pants, whatever. And Daniel's correct in that. And then of course, because the blue boots are missing. So that was said on, like I said, the 3rd. The 5th is when it came out in an interview that Daniel started talking about the brown clothes, possible nappy, and then the rest. But in Malaya's text, that was said right on the 2nd. So why didn't that make it out? Right? Why didn't that make it out until the 5th? But it came out on the 2nd when Malaya is talking about that. So that makes me, side eye stink for sure. Because obviously dark colored clothes, you might as well just say that they were brown then. Brown or black, From Churro, 1407 there. Road is a 57-minute drive. Donuts like a half hour at most. What? Okay, so again, so Daniel kind of has explained that Malaya has been, in, say, abused, neglected, whatever, right? That basically the mother is, you might as well, as according to Daniel, kind of like this monster, this evilness that doesn't want her daughter to be happy and does everything, whatever, to basically knock Daniel down. Is there a reason for that? Don't know. But according to Daniel, Malaya hasn't really had a very good life. And so then you kind of see him on the last clipping that he did, like, please leave Malaya alone. He used that news coverage to his advantage to say that because, like he says, he'll leak things out as he needs to. So that was an opportunity to say that to the public. Now, is he so wrong in saying that? Obviously, no, because what people do is crazy. When they start messaging and saying a bunch of, crazy stuff and stuff like that. So he was using it to his advantage. So my thing is still this: look, your relationship goes to the back burner. If you truly are in this for the sake of Jack and Lily, then stop acting like you're a lovesick puppy that wants to keep protecting Malaya. Malaya is a big girl, okay? With or without you, she's a big girl and she can take care of herself, or she has her family. But if your focus, Daniel, is truly on Jack and Lily, then remember that. Children first before yourselves. It's that simple. That's how much, right, guys? Right. Don't make me jealous, Denise. As Belinda said, what Cody and Malaya. Um, I asked, and I wouldn't. Let me put it this way: I asked, and she didn't say, right? And all I was wondering when I did ask that question was simply, like, is it something that Malaya, was she going through mental health issues or something like that? So I'm going to leave it at that. So no, she actually didn't tell me, but I mean, I know she ended up telling me later on because of messages, right? So we're just going to leave it at that. It's information that I wouldn't bring out to you guys anyway, okay? And the point is, I was just looking to see if there was a connection myself. That's what my intent was. Like, is this something that, Malaya caused the relationship to dissolve? Is this what's going on with Daniel as well, type of thing? I was just simply looking for insight about the possibility of that, right? So again, leave that at that. I'm going to go down to more messages. I think I gotta take this off the screen. Exactly. Where are the kids? Where are the kids? Huh? Well, that they do. Not gonna lie about that. Yeah, I think that's one we went over yesterday. Susie, I think that's one that was pulled up yesterday that somebody sent. A couple people actually. Well, he is using interviews to his advantage, and again, whether he's doing it for selfish intent reasons towards Malaya, type of thing. Like if that's his way of communicating through her subliminally in a sense like that. Again, hopefully the truth of this case comes out. But some people do that, right? It's kind of like, but this is kind of, so it gets me. He totally bashes her, basically almost saying that, she's a lazy ass mom and I do everything, and that she just ignores Jack and Lily, and blah 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 blah. I do this and I do that. And it might be true. It might be very much true. But you're literally sitting there saying that you can use information. Well, I guess you should have just said, no, Daniel, you can't use anything, because there was maybe only 2 points in time at all that you actually said something more nicer about Malaya. Everything was about what you have done for the kids, and it could be possibly true. So Charmaine kept asking you if there's certain things you don't want me to talk about, let me know. Then at the end there, he comes off with this list, like, don't talk bad about Cindy, Malaya's mom, in a sense. Don't talk bad about Malaya. Okay, so then why didn't you just say use nothing then? Because that's pretty much, because even the hidden stuff, well, not all of it, but there's even certain parts there. It's like we just tried to tone some of the things down a little bit, right? Just because they were harsher said. But there is other things that he said as well. But yeah, so it's kind of like, so you're trying to get her back, but yet you're slagging her off to everybody, telling her how you do everything for Jackie. You potty trained them. You took them into the woods. Malaya didn't go outside. You did it all. So it could be possibly true, but still, it's like trying to have your cake and eat it too, and that's the bottom line here. If you are so innocent of any doing with Jack and Lily, then you have no problem voicing the truth or being out there and pushing the relationship to the side, and then going, you know what, if this is about Jack and Lily, it is. You got to take your freaking drooling ass bib off with Malaya, because you can consider that relationship toast unless you two are both involved and you're just playing everyone for fools, in a sense, and trying to freaking concoct this whole freaking act both ways. Who knows? But other than that, if it's total sincerity, shut up about Malaya. She can take care of herself, and she's got her mother to help her, okay? And she doesn't need you right now. Jack and Lily need you then, because obviously Malaya's not doing nothing. She's just hiding behind closed doors over there. Okay. Some truth hurts, so in order. Well, that's what he said, right? Truth hurts, right? Yeah, exactly. If you're so innocent and you keep saying things like, well, the truth is the truth and the truth hurts, like, sorry, I'm saying this, but the truth hurts, because I'm just an honest person, right? So if the truth hurts, oh, but hold on, it really hurts now because Malaya's feelings are hurt now, and she's getting these attacks. I think even that way, like, no, don't get me wrong, people do that shit though, but she took her Facebook down the first time. Why? Because she was getting those same attacks the first time. I know it. I know enough about these cases that shit happens right at the start, just like Summer Wells does. These people instantly, right? They judge. They start sending Facebook bombs at people and stuff like that. So you can't sit there and tell me, behind door number 2 the second time that, oh my God, and then of course the news titles are, about, like poor Malaya, Daniel's telling her or telling people, just leave her alone. No, not going to happen. You people, at least, regardless, are responsible for the disappearance of Lily and Jack. That is fact. You didn't do your due diligence. So if they had nothing to do with it and this was some abduction, doesn't matter. You were negligent in looking after those children. And you're lying about it to boot. Hi, Christy. Oh, she probably maybe she has. No, I think she just has lips like that, to be honest. Fact. Absolutely. That part is fact. No matter what happens here, the bottom line is they were responsible for Jack and Lily, both of them. Not one of them, both of them. So if Malaya is holding some sort of grudge, bottom line is your family unit. This is you guys together, right? And you know that there's lying going on here. There just is. There's lying about the timeline. There's lying about when they actually got up and stuff like that. Anyways, okay, let's go back to some more. Let's see here. Okay, so Her backpack. Let's see. Mhm. Okay, that was with the hunt outside. Malaya put Lily and Jack on the back burner when Meadow was born. Okay, so what did we hear Logan say? Meadow, 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 Meadow. Again, these just could be mimicking words of what, of course, Daniel has said to the cousin, right? Because obviously they're close. So these simply could be why she said Meadow, 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 Meadow. Because already Daniel has told her, like, basically, Malaya's put Jack and Lily to the back burner. Or perhaps Logan, because they're close and the cousins always talked about, or she already knew that herself anyway. But I think a lot of it definitely would come out of Daniel's mouth, right? To his cousin. So, um, and Jack, so basically put them to the back burner when Meadow was born. I taught Lily and Jack everything from potty training, getting Luthers from their mouths, getting Luthers from their mouths. Is that like suckies or something? You know, they're little suckies that they suck in their mouth. Huh, maybe it's just a thing. I did everything for them. Lily and Jack called me dad and came for me for everything. Never Malaya. She had no control over the kids. They were wild with her and with me, listened, and were well behaved. I promised myself I'd always be there for Malaya, holding for Malaya and the kids, and I'm holding that promise. And then he goes on to say, I'm not being negative towards Malaya. I love her, but I never lie. Do 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 do. But I never lie because that's just not me. I say the truth even if the truth hurts. I'm sorry to say that, but I live in reality and it is a reality is what it is. Okay. Right. I think he meant soothers as well. So what do you guys think about that on there? Right? So I'm not trying to be mean to Malaya, but the truth is the truth. And the thing is, you guys, I can absolutely see it being true myself. I can, because this happens in a lot of relationships, you know, where if you got someone that's going through some mental health issues postpartum, you know, he's doing everything around the house. I already told you I was going through depression a couple years back, right? My husband was doing pretty much everything. And then he, like, his income, you hush down there. You talk to mom with that attitude. Don't even talk to me. Okay. You know what? Let me quickly let Kitty out because Bambi probably wants to go have some you want some temptations? Yeah. So just give me a minute, talk amongst yourselves, you know, take care of the chat, and I'll be right back. Okay. Thank you guys. All right. Kitties are being taken care of. Montana and Bambi are eating their temptations. I'm not kidding. That commercial where the cats flip upside down, you know, for temptations. Montana, especially. Oh my God. She literally, when you get up, she'll like literally walk behind you to the kitchen and she just sits there looking at you like, treats? I know. Like, so she knows that minute you go in the kitchen, she's just thinking, give me some treats from the cupboard, please. And I'm just like, Montana, you've had enough. But that cat flips out for that, those temptations. Anyways, Daniel is trying to see Meadow, but they won't let him. Exactly. Why? Why? Right? So what is being said from Malaya in order for Daniel not to be able to see any of his kids? So what's going on there? That's what I'm saying, right? Okay, I remember this is all hypothetical, allegedly, blah, 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 because these are just words out of theirs. It doesn't mean that they're truth. We have to always remember that, okay? So why is it that Malaya's mom shows up on the 3rd? Malaya bolts, can't even look at Daniel, and he doesn't have access to his children. Why is that? Because, Logan doesn't really talk about it, but obviously, she says a little bit there. So what's going on with that? Right? So here we have this person that's claiming that he does all this for the kids. He's raising them. Basically, Malaya almost comes off like she's, like I said, whether it's the postpartum or whatever, she's coming off like she doesn't basically do anything unless it's involving Meadow, that she's put Lily and Jack to the back burner, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So how can two things, in a sense, be the same? So you're doing all this work, but yet you can't see the kids. Why is that? Why does Malaya have Meadow if both of you were together and the kids disappeared while in your chain of custody? I don't get that. Right? So something smelling fishy for sure. Somebody explain that to me. Right? You mean what is being said by Malaya's mom? I've never bought treats for any animals except my 25 chickens. So it's like, again, there has to be some truth here somewhere hidden. That's something that's going on strangely. If what Daniel says is true, and Malaya's mom arrives 16 minutes and she lives over an hour and 16 minutes away, and Malaya's on the phone, Janie says that Malaya she had this look of worry, but was the worry for her children? Like, meaning if the children truly say didn't actually disappear the way that whatever, because according to Daniel, he's racing outside looking around for the children, and Malaya's on her phone, and the kids' names aren't even being yelled. And Janie's mom is like, that's odd. Like her actions are odd. So there's more to me to travel down with this oddness, in a sense, at the moment of this timeline for the Cindy Murray and the, if in fact it's true. But then you sit there and spin your head around going, but you can't see the kids. But Malaya has Meadow. What is it that she has said about you that made her not want to look at you, and now you can't see the kids? There's obviously something there. It's either false and made up in a sense, because women do that shit, right, Katie Proudfoot? Just saying, they'll say anything if they can, as long as they got their child, and women do that shit all the time. Men do too, but women do it more. Women are the fucking head gamers, right? They'll fuck with you for sure. But if it was the res CPS, then they have a different rule than normal CPS. I don't know exactly, so I don't know all about that stuff myself. Only from like the 57-minute drive, and Cindy shows up and says, well, again, right? Because all we can take, right, Krista, is this information. Is it true? Because Logan, lied. She lied. Okay, let me just see here. So why isn't Irma? Right? Like, this is where my mind is boggled. So you have two things here, and at the end of the day of all of this, right? At the end of the day, my question is, what happened to Jack and Lily? So you got freaking Mama taken off. You know, Daniel can't see the kids. He's claiming how well he treated Malaya, that Malaya wanted to distance herself from the mother, right? So where's the truth here? Because what happened to Jack and Lily? Like, truly, it's just not making sense. It's nonsensical, is what it is. There's no CPS there. Okay, so let me just see 1 second. Bring this back up again. Okay. So I'm not being negative. We read this already. I know, Malaya, but I love her. But I never lie because that's just not me. I say the truth. Even if the truth hurts, I'm sorry to say that, but I live in reality, and reality is what it is. Okay. I took Malaya from trauma to a good life. Her mother hated me because she was happy with me. Well, she was so happy with you that now you can't see your kids, you know, because she can, but you can't, Daniel. Why is that? Her mother seized her phone and probably her car keys. I know this because when my cousin, Logan, called her phone on a private number, which she said, so any moron, any person that lacks some brain cells, that same thing Logan says in that interview, that's regardless if that's the truth, that's how you know these are legit, right? It's only 2 + 2, people. Anyone with any sort of brain cells there would understand that, right? Anyways, I can leave that part alone now because honestly, it would be like beating a dead horse. I'm not here to beat that dead horse. If people are that gullible and that simple and they don't understand that virtually everything that Logan talked about has been in this conversation as well, you know, it doesn't matter. It's connected. They talked. Simple as that. Is it the truth? But word for word, pretty much there, what Logan said about, remember, I don't know if you guys all know this trick, but if you put it as private number, then you can still call. So let's see here. When she never shed a tear the day of the disappearance. It's fucking beyond sad. My heart breaks for Malaya. Okay. You know, when I first read this, I actually thought he was talking about Malaya. In a sense. I know that he says at the end, breaks my heart, but I think he's talking about Malaya's mother, that she, and which was said, I think Logan said that too, right? No, the mother didn't. Janie said that according to Daniel, right? That it was just odd. The way that, see, because she said the way that Malaya was acting was odd, but I know that it was said by Logan that like the mother, Malaya's mother, like not one tear shed. So then you go back over there and go, what the hell's going on? Are these children alive? Are they not? Right? Anyways, make that bigger again. Let's see here. This is when he says, her mother has something over her head of some kind. After her and her mother talked, Malaya was not the same. She seemed, what? Her mother, okay, down here. Her mother talked to Malaya, was not the same, seemed scared. No eye contact. Online is going after her, not me anymore. I passed the lie detector test. And then this is when Charmaine spells Cindy the wrong way. And he says, yes, spelled different. I told you, I don't lie and tell the truth. The RCMP, I think that's here. We'll do it here. Took the RCMP 12 minutes to arrive on site. And Malaya's mom was there for a few minutes later. She lives 1 hour. Okay, so I kept saying 16 minutes, but it doesn't say 16 minutes, my bad. It says a few minutes later, right? Took the RCMP 12 minutes to arrive on site, and Malaya's mom was there for a few minutes later. She lives an hour and 16 minutes away. You tell me if something's strange. Okay, right? Got to think about that, right? Got to kind of look at it like, is Daniel telling the truth here? Like, just being a truthologist. But at the end of the day, he kind of backs down when it comes to stuff with Malaya still because he's in love. Is that, But if this is true, that absolutely puts, that into different perspective about Jack and Lily. It kind of does, to be honest with you. Dogs went down the road and lost scent. More than meets the eye. No, comma. Kids were marked as absent at 6:17 and 6:18, which means the Thursday and the Friday, by Malaya. I have emails from the school to prove that. To get and then he says, yes, to get Malaya away from me. So in context there, now maybe, and nothing in the woods makes me think it's possible that they were picked up by who? And now maybe Malaya's mother. I would never say that to anyone. Oh, well, I guess you did. Yes, to get Malaya away from me. I worked, but the truth will come out. Okay? Or it worked, sorry. Not I worked. It worked, but the truth will come out. Now, they are hiding, hoping all this will blow over. And so what he's saying here, guys, is that, okay, so I'll read it and then I'll come back. Now they're hiding, hoping all this blows over, but I'm not letting it. I'm doing everything I can for these kids. She does no media. I do media for Lily and Jack. They need someone to speak out. So, 1 second. I have to have what? I'm going to cough. 1 second. Okay. My bad. Thanks, Charmaine. So what Daniel's basically saying there is, look, there's something fishy going on here with Malaya's mom showing up at a couple minutes after. She didn't shed a damn tear at all. Malaya leaves, and he's saying, I'm not letting this blow over. Basically, I'm not shutting up because I think those kids are still alive and out there. And I think that potentially that this could be a reason for that, why Malaya's mom showed up. Okay. So that's what he's meaning by that. I think it's pretty apparent if when you read it, but he's saying that's why I'm not letting this blow over. So again, if you have the right context to what's being said, and you've maybe missed a few things in what Daniel has said. So we don't know, but that's just it. We don't know. It's odd from both sides. But for me personally, right, we don't know about the woods. I don't think they're in the woods. I don't feel like myself it's a stranger abduction, but it's still possible, right? It's still possible. But to me, the more plausibility about the kid's disappearance myself is that this is family involvement somehow. It's strange. There's lies going on, absolutely. And to me, this just reeks of weirdness to the interviews, to what we're being told. And that's only if we rely on this information to use it as like a baseline, right, of the gist of it. So don't be so adamant to go, Malaya's guilty, Cindy Murray's guilty, Daniel's guilty, in a sense. Just think of it all. Instead of thinking that Daniel has built himself up, in a sense. So sure, he's doing stuff, like he is saying these things, but they could be true by the same token. And he's telling, like, he's literally putting it out there that, and again, we'll go to Logan's interview, guys, right? Where she's clearly lying, because she doesn't want to say it, but she knows the answer. She knows the answer to a few things that she didn't answer. So I just say, don't lie. Just say you don't want to talk about that part. I think she called her mom first too, but why? Well, again, that's just it. That's all these $1 million questions we don't know the answer to, right? Why? So if Daniel knows, well, the thing is that, I mean, I would like to think that Daniel, and I mean, I would like to think that Daniel has said his piece. I mean, he has said that other people have said the same thing, like check it out, right? So I would believe that if he felt that the children were being hidden, that he would have absolutely let the RCMP know about it, instead of traipsing around all the time, searching and doing stuff like that. You know, the thing that really bugs me about Daniel, when he's talking about Lily and Jack, one of the big things that bugs me is multiple times now he's made comments that I will continue searching for if it takes me the rest of my life. He's basically said that at least 3 times now. So it's one of those things. Maybe this is kind of like his expression that is in a sense means nothing, but yet to other people it's telling, because when he says that each time, it makes it seem like in his brain, he knows why he's saying it that way, you know, and people can contrive it as, well, that's because he knows that they're never coming back. But if Daniel believes that the children are just being hidden, right? Maybe that's why he's more saying it like, if I have to keep looking for them for the rest of my life, then I'll do it. Again, you have to think of it in different ways, not just one way, and set your mind on that. Because if he believes that these children are still alive out there and being hidden, that would make more sense to his why he keeps saying that sentence, would it not? You know? No, it wasn't, Charmaine. I haven't touched this at all, to be honest with you. All the things are still there. I think there's a couple things because we were kind of racing through it, because we were just so tired and we were just going over. Like there was a lot of messages on there, but no, I haven't taken anything off or done anything to it. But okay, so wait, where was I? Where was I? Sorry, I'm on this one. Oops, keep forgetting I got to make myself smaller so I can make this bigger. Let's see here. Yeah. No, that wasn't taken off. That was said the other day as well. She does no media. Okay, right. Okay, she does no media. I do media for Lily and Jack. They need someone to speak out. Every time it falls out of the news, I leak something to get it back on, which we saw him do, right? We just saw him do that the other day. Hence, he was sitting there going, please stop attacking poor Malaya over there. I'm sorry, but again, it's not about protecting Malaya or Daniel or whatever. It's about finding the truth. And it's Lily and Jack that deserve these answers. It's not about if their truth is truthful, then they got nothing to worry about. It's that simple. I don't believe that because I became good friends with the reporters. So he's talking about 13,000. And this was about heartbreaking some money. Now I've heard that her mom did an interview on the phone to basically say that, Malay, like they won't be talking. So that was the only interview that the mom did, was when she answered the phone, basically saying that they won't be talking to media, da 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 da. So he says, I don't believe that because I became good friends with the reporters and Global CTV and CBC. Yeah, they tell me that they kicked them out of the yard, and she tells me that no media questions must be asked through the lawyer. The world knows I have nothing to do with it now. Well, that's not true, Daniel. Okay, that absolutely is not. In your eyes, that might be true. In everybody else's eyes, that is not true whatsoever. I'm fighting to bring them home. Yeah, I don't know where he thinks that. I think he's delusional to that one for sure, because he's absolutely on radar as being having something to do. I was the one that said, here's my phone and the lie detector test. Let's do it. I brought that up. I asked for that. Media is not given the full story. Helicopters can't fly. What's that? Helicopters can't fly at night either, only drones. I can't go into drone technology either. I was urged not to. I tell the truth. Hey, again, how many times he tells us he's telling the truth, right? Now, some people might find that as a red flag. I don't, because people always want to pick apart when I say, like, I noticed that Mike, that guy that slagged us the other night many times. He kept, so I always say, to be honest, it's one of those things that I've always said, because when I use the word to be honest, it's not because I'm not telling the truth anyway. It's just an expression over time that when I repeat some or say something, I'm like, well, to be honest, I don't really like that color. If you ask me a question, well, to be honest, your hair looks ugly today, So I use that term all the time. It literally means nothing. I'm one of the most honest people you'll ever come across. Why? Because, first of all, when you got nothing to hide and you just tell the truth, you don't even have to think about it again, right? Like, I don't like to have stuff and, webbing weaves of lies and, so I have to cover up another one. I don't got the time of day for that crap. If I tell the truth, simple as that. So I can understand it from my perspective if I'm looking at Daniel's, and maybe some other of you guys, same thing, right? Because it's almost like you have to explain yourself that you're telling the damn truth. And really, you shouldn't have to. But in saying that, half time you feel like you do have to. And you say these things like, well, the truth is what it is. That's what things I would say, the truth will come out. Absolutely. If you're telling the truth, nothing to hide. So those are things I say. So I'm looking for Daniel to say those same things. And the thing is that he is. He actually is saying those same things. So whenever these analysts want to sit there and say, oh my God, she's using the word to be honest, I'm going to tell you this from my perspective. A lot of these analysts are so far up their own buttholes that they don't know which way to come out anymore, because because honestly, I listen to some of them for sure, right? I want to hear if what they have to say gives me more insight on there. But a lot of them, they're wrong about a lot of things. Because, like I said, I know myself, the things that I do. And if you're going to try to twist the fact that I say to be honest as then I'm not being honest and stuff like that, right? So I think a lot of them talk out of their ass. It's generalized and stuff like that. But I think a lot of them are just, they just get on their own high horse thinking that what they're saying is right and correct. People are buying it because, oh my God, he's an analyst. Where's his receipts as well, by the way, right? Just like Didi, where's your receipts? If you're in a statement analysis and you're a lawyer, show your receipts, because anyone can be anyone they want to on the internet. Just like I don't have to justify myself to anyone, their channel doesn't as well. But where's your receipts then? If you always keep wanting to say like you're this amazing analyst and stuff like that, then you should show your receipts. You should at least show that you truly do have that, because then you're going to get people not believe you. I don't have any receipts for that stuff at all, because I don't have no freaking plaques on my wall, because I have real life experience with shit. And that's why when I'm listening to some of them are really good, like in their analysis. Doesn't mean that they're reading the person right. No, they're just giving you what they feel is their baseline, like what Alexis talked about, and if they're deviating from their baseline and stuff. But does it make it true that they're right? No, absolutely not. I can stick my finger to the wind and tell the weather better than the weather people. And I'm not a weather person. I didn't go to school for that. Tragic celebrities, 2 missing children, 3 babies. Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's very sad. SAR did a whole post on drone technology and what they're using. Not sure. Yeah, I know. Some of the things, like he says, are a little bit about like the whole drone technology. Come on now. Like the whole drone technology isn't out there already on the internet about what drone, like the technology advanced and stuff. So I kind of reminds me of the lie detector. He could have absolutely said that he passed, but he didn't know he could say that, is what the way I took that. So he kind of just said, well, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say, but let's just say it's favorable, because I honestly believe he didn't know if he was supposed to give up that information or not. Right. And he was trying to be truthful, is how I'm seeing it. Right. If he is telling the truth, that he's trying to be truthful, but he's not really giving you that 100% answer, because he's not sure if he's actually supposed to say it, you know. But anyway, let's see what else we got. What else? And so you guys, I can't see chat unless I come back to it. Other than that, I'm on a different screen, just so you know. Okay. Okay. So hold on, I got a yawn. 1213. It's 12:13 my time. What time is it your guys' time? Well, most of you guys are like 4 hour difference if you're in Nova Scotia. You know, East Coast is 3 on that part of it. And then of course, Mountain time, I guess, is 1:13 now. Yeah. I know. I didn't even know that we had like 5 or 6 different time zones, to be honest. I know that there's Newfoundland, which is just weird because Newfoundland is like 4.5 hour difference. Mm. I tell you the truth, but I can't comment on anything that will harm the investigation. I love her more than anything. That will never change. I'm waiting for the chance to relive our first date over waterfalls and walk on a big island beach with the Daniel you first met. She will know what that means. Now, that probably. So, Charmaine had asked Daniel, is there something that you want me to put out there so that if Malaya sees it, right, that we can do that for you, type of thing? I'll tell you, I'm sure most of you guys have already noticed that, but no kidding people are going to look at that and be like, what? What do you mean the Daniel you first met? I mean, shouldn't you kind of be the same Daniel you met? Because people are going to twist that shit, right? So that, unfortunately, he worded it a way that is easily on the attack, for sure, because that makes it sound like you were this good person and then you turned into this different person, which is referring to not a good person so much, or not, just different, that he's changed, right? So to me, so if you're so awesome and amazing, Daniel, and you take care of the kids and you do all that stuff, what do you need to change for? Because obviously, you kind of sound like Mr. Perfect, right? We know you're not, but that's the way you're portraying yourself, as if, I've done all this. So why would you need to change? Isn't Malaya the one that needs to change? If what you say, if all the other stuff is true, right? Getting you guys get what I'm putting down on that one? You guys great? So why would he? Why would he need to change if he's so amazing and awesome? It's Malaya, obviously. She doesn't do anything with the kids. She doesn't go outside, right? Got to look at it both ways there. But yeah, so a post that was supposed to be like, she knows what it means, that sentence in itself took away any sort of credibility, in a sense, to Daniel, and making him and putting himself in a bad light, to be honest with you, just because of that sentence. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah, 4:44 there in Newfoundland. Yeah, it's got that, like I said, odd time zone. Okay, what do we got left for this? So Malaya's time of 10 a.m. is false. We can leave it at that. Now take that. Okay. Malaya's time of 10 a.m. is false. We can leave it at that. Okay. So we already know Malaya put the time as 9:40. So we know that it is false, right? We know that it's false, at least to her statement to Belinda that morning, for sure. We still don't know the accuracy of that time as well, but it is false. So that's true. She refers to me as her partner is weird too. She never does wording like that. You know, I mean, Malaya could have been very nervous, right? Like, meaning, we still can't take away from the fact that, we don't know if Malaya had anything to do with it. So you have to look at it in different ways for sure. Because I mean, if I've never been in front of the camera the first time and I'm having to deal with my child missing and stuff like that, I don't know how exactly I would react. Well, actually, I feel like I do, but does that mean that I would? So it's one of those things. Is that it's almost like when you're lying about the timeline, and then all of a sudden she needed to explain herself, and that's when she went into this weird, my partner, Daniel. And I can see why that came off weird, but I can see why that might have sounded like that as well. Or, when she answered it, because it's like she hasn't said his name yet. She's talking about how they were sleeping. And then it's like, my partner, Daniel. So I can see that being done like that, and that one's not such a red flag to me, to be honest with you, as much as the telling of the story is, I think, bullshit between the both of them. My mom was napping and I came outside because she heard me yelling that morning for the kids. Again, I'm not trying to put Malaya in a bad light, but the truth is the truth. Right, Daniel? Malaya was playing on her phone. Mom came out and she said Malaya had a look of worry in her eyes that Mom was home. Oh, I didn't read it that way before. I read that as a typo kind of sentence. So she said Malaya had a look of worry in her eyes that Mom was home, meaning that Janie was home. I thought that was just like I said, a sentence that was just not typed right. Now I get what it means. Ah. No tears. She wasn't scared. The kids were gone. Just a look of worry. Mm. She got caught for something wrong. She never yelled once the kids' names, trying to find them. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Though, the one thing, like this, see, this is my thing. Either Daniel's just completely full of shit, or for the most part, he's completely accurate. Because that's a lot of shit to be laying down that can be absolutely verified in a lot of ways. Right? To me, it's different if somebody is kind of lying in a sense and they're lying out their teeth and you know that they're lying. But there's a lot of shit that he's saying here about stuff that can be confirmed. And that's why I have a hard time with Daniel, because I'm looking at everything, right? From his pictures with the kids, his other kids, from his wording here, right? Like I said, I don't need no freaking analyst, to sit there and tell me that, about certain things. As an empath, I know what empaths would talk like, right? What we would say versus somebody that really doesn't give a shit. It's different. Daniel is meeting that criteria to me in so many ways. He's saying so many things, giving quite a few details here to us, right? The story to Janie, or his mom, he's talking about the weirdness of Malaya. There's people around that could attest to all this stuff, let alone the cousins or the people that was there. So that's my thing with Daniel, is that every time I read his stuff, listen to him, stuff like that, I'm more, let me put it this way. If I'm going to believe anyone between Malaya and Daniel, I'm believing Daniel. He's at least saying things that actually make sense that you would say. if you're a truthologist type of person, he's being open like a book about Malaya, and yet by the same token, that's how I feel. Is that who your red flag is? Daniel's mom? I don't know. Like I said, Lily, I look at everything myself. I don't think of Daniel as a dumbass, but I still, regardless in this whole situation, they were negligent of those children, Lily and Jack. And that's what this is about, right? That's why anything to do with that day, right? I mean, the last sighting was on the 1st. We don't know anything past that unless the police, RCMP, had talked to Janie, and Janie can verify something past that point when they were seen on footage. You know, you don't think it's strange that Jack was in the kitchen, and yet I don't believe this shit though either about, oh, well, we went through his room of clothes and we noticed. Bullshit. Bullshit. Bullshit about that. Why didn't you talk about the knapsack right away? Why did that come out a couple days later about the knapsack? Strawberry one. Well, again, who knows? Maybe it was just simply because they didn't see, like they didn't think about it at the time. They were just noticing boots gone. But how do you know what Jack was wearing? If you guys were in bed and you text the school from your bedroom, how do you know what Jack was wearing? Because maybe it's a lie. Maybe you actually were up. Maybe you actually did see them. I don't know. Oh, absolutely, Brandon. I'm torn. I'm like, it's not usually, it's not that usually I can tell one way or the other, but I'm not sure where the lie is here, because it's like you have two things going on. You have someone that's doing what they're supposed to be doing, saying things, blah, 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 giving you details about this mom. But then you have this weirdness that Daniel can't see his kids, that Malaya gives him this or doesn't look at him, type of thing. So it's kind of like having two different stories. You got the one that's over here bashing Malaya and I'm so amazing type of thing coming off, right? That's how it comes off regardless. I'm looking beyond that though, trying to look beyond that. So if you have this over here and someone saying like, the old Daniel, well, like I said, you're so great according to your own shit. You were amazing. And Malaya's a piece of shit, basically. But over here, you got Malaya acting weird. She leaves with her mom. Daniel can't see his kids and blah, 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 blah. So you want to talk about being on the fence? Absolutely. I'm flip-flopping like a fish because I'm just trying to understand. But if I was to pick one, like if I was to pick a side of which one sounds more believable or seems more believable, to me, I'm still more on the Daniel side of things, because Malaya's side might have some answers to it, but they're not doing anything. It's hidden. Malaya's mom showing up. What for? If that's true, right? So where's the kids? Hey, trust me. I want those children to be alive and hidden somewhere. Absolutely. That would be the best case scenario, right? It is strange. I like strange, though. I hate the fact that it's to do with the case of two missing children, but I like strange. So that's why I like to look at all the little details. That's why I like to get as many little details to try to take away from the strange and put some true, perspective on it, and where these lies, what is the reasoning for these lies? What's the real story? Unfortunately, we'll probably never get those answers until the RCMP, give us some sort of, update on the case. Whoever got up at 6 a.m. to call the school, they didn't have to get up. Phones are in the bed. That's the thing, right? Cell phone in the bed. Ding, 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 right? They're in the bed. So that I go back and forth too. I'm pretty convinced now what I believe, but who truly knows? Yeah. I just, at the end of the day, it's about Jack and Lily, right? If they had nothing to do with it, that means that Jack and Lily got abducted, because those kids, as far as I'm concerned, right? Those kids are not in the woods. They would have found something by now. They would have found, okay, 2 kids ain't in the woods, right? But yet they're still going back there because of footprints, because they got to still do their due diligence. But the abduction, yeah, I can't buy that if I tried, to be honest with you, that it was a stranger thing. I smell family involvement here. So, like I said, so either you have to look at it like they literally had nothing to do with it. I just don't feel that way myself. Some These people, there's lies going on here. Like I said, at minimum, if you think about at minimum neglect, that means that some stranger danger picked them up and took them away. Is it happening? Probably. This is how I feel about it myself. Okay. Huh. I have considered is Daniel narcissist for a few reasons. Talking like he is here and saying media has become his friends and saying that he couldn't um, and saying media has become his friends and saying that he couldn't talk about the drones. Well, can somebody tell me when Daniel was born? Anybody? I know he's 33. Anybody tell me what his zodiac sign is? Because if he's a Cancer, I mean, I'm giving him a pass. If he's a Cancer, I'm absolutely giving him a pass. It's not usually Cancers or certain zodiac signs that do crazy shit. What is he, Lily? How do you know? Do you know when his birthday is? I know when Malaya's is, because obviously we saw her ID card. You can't just tell me he's not a Cancer, Lily. You got to tell me why. Well, no, you can't say he's not a Cancer. I'm thinking Gemini or Scorpio. That's just guessing. I want facts. I want fact what he is. I'm a Cancer. So you're deeming him not to be a Cancer? I think he could have traits of a Cancer, but maybe more of an Aries, to be honest. It's his birthday. Well, I don't think it is, Brandon, but let me go take a look. Yeah. Let's take a look. Let's see. Come on down. I know he's 33, but they didn't say like his birth date in the newspaper. Okay, come on, give us your age, buddy. Give us your age. No. But he's worked at Groups of Voice since February 15th of 2013. About. No. I would really love to know his zodiac sign. Not because I'm this heebie-jeebie stuff, but I also know that there's certain signs that are similar to Cancer. But he could be an Aries. He could be an Aries, guys. If he's an Aries, he's similar to a Cancer, but they're kind of full of themselves, the Aries men. All right. If somebody ever knows his birthday, let me know. I'll be like, hey, Belinda, can you just message Daniel and ask him when his birthday is? Oh, well, there you go. See? Yeah, well, she probably couldn't tell me because I'm sure she doesn't know his birthday that well. But maybe on his face, can somebody go to his Facebook and scroll and see if there's any day where it says happy birthday, son? Can somebody do that for a minute? If anyone has a moment, it's not hard. I'll give you a freaking link. 1 second. Let me just go back to his profile. Oh, don't tell me he's a May 4th, though. Just don't tell me that. Don't tell me he's Taurus. Sorry, Charmaine. Okay, hold on. Well, it's showing underneath life events, but whatever. Copy. Okay. Paste. Okay. That's his current Facebook. Nothing? That one I'm just would be very curious about, to be honest with you. Now, we're not making excuses for these two. Okay? Not making excuses. At the very minimum, they're negligent of why those kids disappeared. Uh, I'm not making excuses for anybody. Absolutely not. It was them to protect Lily and Jack. Either they did something to Lily and Jack, or they were negligent. One of the two things happened. It's not about making excuses, at least not in my eyes anyway. People can sit there and make excuses. You have to look, at the end of the day, like I said, people are given a brain. And with that brain that you're given, you try to put everything logically, but you have to take yourself out of the equation and not be not be blinded by Daniel's words, Malaya's interview. It's what you're seeing beyond that matters, right? And the information that the best to our knowledge. So that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to stay very unbiased in my thinking, but yet I still obviously have an opinion when I'm looking at everything that I see, because it doesn't mean I'm right, you're right, whatever's right, whatever. When at some point, hopefully when there's answers, then you can sit there and say, oh, good job. I called it, if you want to. Negligence guarantee they deserve zero excuses, and all the judgment. Absolutely. Nobody else lost their kids. Nobody else took their kids, possibly, well, I guess, unless it's a stranger thing. At the end of the day, they were responsible. So can't take that part away, and if they truly had nothing to do with it, then that's their guilt to live with, right? And it's a cover up. Well, I definitely believe that they're covering up the timeline. I don't believe that's accurate. Yeah, I think that they're. Well, let's see. Let me 1 second, guys. What'd you say there, Brandon? When two kids go missing from home, I believe finger pointing is warranted. I also fully agree. Well, we all know that children, most times, more than not, it's a family member or someone close to them that knows them. Okay? A lot of times, it's that. And in this case, well, do you think that they found them in the woods or anything? Mm-mm. I mean, like I said, talk all that stuff about the case, absolutely. Talk about the negligence on them, absolutely, because they were negligent. That's fact, right? That's why Jack and Lily aren't there playing outside right now, because of their negligence. But there's three things: abduction by a stranger, something happened within the family, whether it's an accident, whether it's a cover-up, whether it's whatever, family involvement, or in the woods. We gotta exclude magic carpet, UFO. Those things don't sound realistic, right? So the other ones at least do. So if there's nothing in the woods, and the police came out from the start and said, we do not believe that this is an abduction. Now, some people are waiting for them to put their tail between their legs, perhaps, on that one. I just don't see it myself. Their stories are weird. There's definitely something that's going on within the family, to me, just by my own personal opinion. It stinks. It reeks of lies and mistruths. And there's, like I said, so Daniel, for you to say that you're always tell the truth, I'm sorry, but I don't believe your timelines of the morning, because 8:00 is right there on the scanner radio. Last time you seen them. So what time then was Lily coming into the bedroom? Was it at 7:50? And then you guys fell back asleep, right? And then 9:40, 9:20, you wake up and you're like, whoa. And Malaya says, it's just a mother's gut instinct to call the police. And Daniel's saying, Well, Malaya said, should I call the police? And he's like, fuck yeah. Like, you kidding? Like, yeah. But I can see that. I can still see that as Malaya saying, well, gut instinct, you know? But then the whole story kind of line reeks around that too. I was like, I couldn't believe it when Greg was saying on Sadie's show yesterday, was saying like that he had more red flags to Daniel than Malaya, to be honest with you. Malaya's interview from start to finish was a bunch of red flags. I guess he didn't see it that way. That was strange to me. Yeah, they did. They checked. I mean, they were checking the power line area where those footprints were, at least anyway. However far they went out, I don't know. Okay, hold on a second. Damn, there was a lot of text here. It feels like I'm talking on this one forever. What am I trying to do? Oh, I'm trying to go back here. I'm trying to make this bigger. Take this out of the way. Okay, so right. So let's go back to this one again. My mom was napping and came outside because she heard yelling that morning. Because she heard me yelling for the kids. Malaya was playing on her phone. Mom came out and said Malaya had a look of worry in her eyes that Mom was home. No tears. She wasn't scared. The kids were gone. Just a look of worry. She got caught for something. She never yelled once for the kids and trying to call their name. Mom said it was odd that she acted odd. Malaya asked me when noticed the kids were gone. Should I call the police? Again, Charmaine says, no shit, of course, call. That's basically was his answer. No, I ran through the house, searching every room, then ran outside the back sliding door, the quiet one. It did everything. I did everything so fast. She said they were gone when we were both outside. No, only me because Malaya rarely ever went outside with them. And okay, this is the weird part. This is the part that I don't understand here. And leave boots and all their belongings on. If you guys can hear noise, it's because hopefully it's not too loud. Is it loud, that noise coming from outside, guys? Because they're doing some I live in an apartment where they take care of the lawn shit. Can you guys hear it coming through loudly or no? I'm sure one person in this chat can answer me on that. Just one person. No, thank you. Thank you, AI Henry. Thank you, Rena. Okay, so where was I? If it does become loud, let me know. Means I'll have to close my window, but whatever. Okay. So where were we? Malaya asked when noticed. No, I ran. She said they were gone when we were both outside. Okay. Okay, yeah, right. And leave boots on. And leave boots and all their belongings on. What? Like, I'm confused because I'm trying to read, like, okay, wait. So what did Charmaine say at some point that he would have said that? So she went outside first and then told you she couldn't find the kids? And he said no. Okay, wow. That would have been terrifying. Have they ever left the yard before? No. Only with me because Malaya rarely ever went outside with them. To me, so unlikely for kids to venture out on their own if they don't usually do it. And he says, and leave boots and all their belongings on. There's something strange about that. It doesn't fit to anything, but yet it does somewhere. it's referencing it in a weird way, as if to say that these kids already, that they knew, or that Malaya knew that these kids, I don't know. What do you, like, that's weird. How would you guys interpret that, to be honest with you? Like, logically, because it's out of place, but yet it means something. And because it's almost like saying that the kids were outside playing and they leave their boots and everything and all their belongings on still as they disappeared. What do you guys make out of that? Maybe. And leave boots and all their belongings on. It's such a strange sentence. I'm just going to see what you guys are saying about that. Yeah, pretty much. Who's messaging me? Let me just take a quick look. One second, guys. I'm just looking at a quick email here. They didn't have their boots on them because they were in bed, so they had to take their boots with them. People would buy that theory that they went out into the woods themselves. Okay, I'll have to come back to that email on that one. I'll have to come back to that email later, Sandra. Okay. It's one that I have to spend time reading it properly. It's so weird, that one, because anyways, you know what? I want to go because we're only at the point now, guys, where he's just basically saying take it down, remove it all type of thing. So I want to go stop screen. Oh, I'm just a big box right here, aren't I? Present. Had to save.
They wanted to look for the children, or did she make a fuss saying, like, I don't want to leave until I find my kids?
No.
Or... Really?
No. So that's what I stated as well. Because when I got there, I said, do you want me to stay with the baby? You can go look. She goes, I'm going to stay with the baby. Okay, said whatever. So I went looking. So that was the next thing, was when she was told that the baby had to leave the residence. She's exactly told she did not have to leave the residence. They just wanted the baby off the resident, from away from the residence. That's like, this whole scenario isn't something a kid should be a part of. So the baby was going to come to my house. So she's never been apart from the baby. Never. Like, she's meadow. So I said, you're more than welcome to come too. If not, I am comfortable. I have 3 kids of my own. Like Malaya, I can take care of this kid. Like, I can take care of the baby, no problem. So first the baby, it was just going to be the baby. And then she decided she was going to come with me. So, but then something changed and we were at the briefing. Her mother said something to her. And then I had to take everything out of my car and put it in her mother's car. And like I said, she had this whole plan. Like, she was going to drive her car into my house. Mm-hmm. And she was going to, and then the plan changed. Oh, I'm going to take the car to my mother's. Like, I'm going with my mother. Well, she didn't even come back for the car. Like, the search and rescue had her car towed to wherever she was because they left the car. That's how much of a hurry that was to leave. Malaya stayed at the residence Friday night.
And just out of curiosity, because I think you said something and I wasn't quite sure I understood. When did Malaya's mother arrive at the house?
So she arrived Friday. She was there before I got there. on Friday when they went missing. I'm not sure the exact time. We all tried to figure that out. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did Malaya's mother stay overnight there?
I am unsure, but she was there in the morning when I got back, when I came back. So she could have stayed the night. I am, like I said, I am unsure because I didn't stay at the residence that night. I went home. And Daniel did pass the lie detector test.
So what was Daniel's relationship like with Malaya's mom?
From what I understand, Malaya's relationship with her mother was never great. She didn't want to live with her mother. So Daniel's poison is, from what I understand, poison. Like he always said, and he said this in his interviews over and over again, is every time Malaya got ahead in life, her mother pulled her back. So we'll just go with that.
I just find it strange how the grandmother would convince her daughter to leave
the residence.
instead of staying with her to look for these babies.
That woman has never shed a tear the whole time she was there. My dad even stated that. He goes, I cried. Like my father cried and cried and cried. This is a 55-year-old man. And he cried for those children. And that grandmother didn't shed a tear.
Now, I know you can't speak on Daniel's behalf, but what does he really truly believe happened to these kids?
That's something that he has stated all along, that it's something that has to come from him. Honestly, he believes they were, I think he believes that they were picked.
Okay. 1 second here. Okay. So I do want to go back to that, you guys. I had to step away from my computer for a minute, and I was like, shit. I want to kind of stop it there. So I'm going to go back just a bit here. Time is at 12:48.
And then I had to take everything out of my car and put it in her mother's car. And like I said, she had this whole plan, like she was going to drive her car into my house.
Mm-hmm.
And she was going to, and then the plan changed. Oh, I'm going to take the car to my mother's. Like I'm going with my mother. Well, she didn't even come back for the car. Like the search and rescue had her car towed to wherever she was because they left the car. That's how much of a hurry that was to leave. Malaya stayed at the residence Friday night.
And just out of curiosity, because I think you said something and I wasn't quite sure I understood. When did Malaya's mother arrive at the house?
So she arrived Friday. She was there before I got there on Friday when they went missing. I'm not sure the exact time. We all tried to figure that out.
Okay, so right there. So we all tried to figure that out. But yet Daniel says that she arrived a few minutes after the police did. And don't you find that strange? So either she's just clearly lying because she doesn't want to say exactly when the mother arrived. And so it's whether or not you believe that the mother, meaning Cindy Murray, arrived, like Daniel said, a few minutes after the police did. But here, she's not claiming to it or anything. Now, I think she's full of shit myself, because if Daniel's putting that out there, I'm sure damn right they were talking about it. So what do you mean you can't figure it out? But it's more maybe perhaps like they don't want to say that part, right? And just put that out there per se. So that part to me stinks as not telling the truth, because obviously you're best cousins and you're all trying to figure things out about the time that she arrived. Well, obviously if the police arrived and she arrived right after and you're there, then you would know.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did Malaya's mother stay overnight there?
I am unsure, but she was there in the morning when I got back, when I came back. So she could have stayed the night. Like I said, I am unsure because I didn't stay at the residence that night. I went home. And Daniel did pass the lie detector test.
So what was...
And those are just words. I'm sure Daniel didn't walk home with like a little certificate that said, congratulations, you've passed the test, right? That would simply be just Daniel's word to her repeating what Daniel told her. Correct? She lives, just over an hour away. Okay.
What was Daniel's relationship like with Malaya's mom?
Yeah. She definitely put that out there, right? Again, I have an issue with Daniel getting upset at us, and then his own cousin is saying a lot more shit, but yet it just corroborated the conversation with again with Charmaine and Daniel, right? And you can tell that with the way she said that. Yeah, and by the way, you guys, like, Daniel passed his test, okay? He's going to confirm that for Daniel because he told me, right? So I'm just going to confirm that, being the good cousin I am, type of thing. And this is no offense against Logan. She's just trying to do her part, whatever it is.
From what I understand, Malaya's relationship with her mother was never great. She didn't want to live with her mother.
Again, we've seen this in Daniel's text, right? That she didn't want to be with her mother, type of thing. In fact, she wanted to basically disown her mother. And so again, how do you have this, the happiest that she's ever been moment, to you're the biggest piece of shit in the world and I'm blocking you, type of thing?
So Daniel's poison is, from what I understand, poison.
This just reminds me, honestly, of like I said, I don't know enough about the cousin. I know that they're close, but this just sounds like a lot of hearsay from Daniel, is from what she's regurgitating. It's just like things that he's telling her. That's more what it sounds like, a lot of. And I think that's probably true.
Like he always said, and he said this in his interviews over and over again, is every time Malaya got ahead in life, her mother pulled her back. So we'll just go with that.
Don't forget to hit that like button and share, guys.
I just find it strange how the grandmother would convince her daughter to leave
the residence
instead of staying with her.
Okay, and that's one of the $1 million questions right there, right? So if Daniel's this amazing person and their relationships, just really great, and the cousin's saying everything that she's seen, that they're really great. So then, yeah. So what would now make Malaya not even want to look at Daniel and leave the property with this mother that's a monster type personality, apparently, right? What would happen there? Remember, it's just allegedly, you guys, just thinking out loud type of thing. So what would make Malaya, considering from Daniel, right, that all this is true?
Her to look for these babies.
That woman has never shed a tear the whole time she was there. My dad even stated that. He goes, I cried. Like my father cried and cried and cried. This is a 55-year-old man.
Hold on. Let's give Lisa a little bit of attention. Splash those birthday cakes. Lisa says, I'm 52 years young today. I gotta go have birthday cake shortly. I hope you are all still on when I get back. Prob not, to be honest. Well, with me, you never say never, okay? We just did like a freaking almost 5-hour live yesterday. But we'll see. But you guys splash her with some birthday cakes if you can. I'm going to pull out the balloons here. And you got this. Give her some love. Oh. Or I probably put too many things out there. Oh, I'm minus 50. Yep. Do you want me to do the Marilyn Monroe? Happy birthday to you. Come on, you guys, sing it. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Lisa. Happy birthday. If I had blonde hair, you guys would probably buy it. To you. Happy birthday, Lisa. Thank you guys. Giving her some love. Okay. Just to even get me to sing without you guys all leaving and frickin' bolting out of here. That's amazing in itself, just to be honest. I feel like 6 people left the minute they heard me sing. Got some ice cream on there. Looking for my white halter dress. All right. Well, happy birthday. I'll be, don't worry, don't even feel like 52 years old, man. July 3rd, less than a month away. Well, hold on a second. My brother-in-law turns 25 or 26. Hold on. My husband will turn 35, so Ryan will turn 25. So Ryan on June 12th turns 25. My husband will be 35 on June 22nd. And then I'll turn 56 on July 3rd. And then mine and my husband's 10th year anniversary will be July 11th. So you tell me, and then I have a twin sister to go with that, you know? And then I have a niece, her birthday's July 15th, my brother's birthday. Let me just tell you a little thing here. Because my mom was obviously spreading those legs. Because my twin, so I'm the youngest. I'm 10 minutes younger than my twin sister. We don't look alike. No, I'm so much better looking than her. Okay? She might have the brains in certain departments, right? That's what I say. We always say we wouldn't want to look like each other. Anyways, my brother, his birthday is July 9th. So for 6 days, me, my brother, and my twin are all the same age. That's how much my mom spread her legs and was like banging already. Seriously. Right? And then I have an older sister. Her name is Satan. She's a year and a half older than my brother. She's a Pisces. February 25th, I believe. That's cute and cringy all in one. Isn't it? Right? Okay. As far as Daniel, speaking about first date, the man he was, Logan said in her interview that he had proven himself over and over when they were discussing why Daniel can't see Meadow. Well, again, we'll come back to that part. Oh, how about... Imagine watching that. Remember that show, you guys, where they got some of the Duggars or whatever? Like freaking 20-something kids and counting? Oh, my God. You were just like a pop-a-lot. Remember those things? Pop, pop, pop. The little pop-a-lot. You put the ball in and pop, 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 pop. Imagine that show when they were freaking like 22 kids and counting or something like that. And then one of the Duggars like went to prison for like being a pedo or whatever. Freaking sicko on that part. But anyways, can you imagine freaking using that machine downstairs and just being like pop, 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 pop. Anyway. All right.
And he cried for those children, and that grandmother didn't shed a tear.
Now, I know you can't speak on Daniel's behalf, but what does he really truly believe?
All right. So that grandmother, let's just, again, think about it. The grandmother didn't shed a tear, right? Now, what about what Daniel said about Malaya? That Janie said, his mom. Not a tear came out of Malaya. Like mother, like daughter. Maybe because you are a product of your environment per se, right? We don't know the life, so this is just total speculation on this. But if you don't live in a loving home, right? So this is exactly it. We don't know the life, but I'll tell you, my grandmother, she was a very strong-willed lady. She was a feisty little thing, about 100 pounds. Okay, but she, my grandpa, he died when his I didn't know him obviously, but he died because his work vehicle exploded, and so my grandma had to raise the 4 kids, my mom, my uncles, and my other aunt by herself, right? When she lost her husband, she never remarried again. She took care. She got her, his death benefits, and she just took care of the kids. So my mom was 9 years old when her dad, would be my grandpa, passed away and whatever. So My grandma wasn't this lovey, huggy, dovey type person. My mom, same thing. My mom, you knew she loved you, but she wasn't a lovey dovey mother like that. She loved you and she did a lot of things, but giving you that warms hugs and stuff like that, no. So, me, being the deep empath that I am, I wanted my son to have the hugs. I wanted him to feel loved. I knew what it was to be a mother, and I knew that I needed to break that cycle because I didn't like it. Right? My mom always could never be at our concerts or nothing like that. But meaning, you're a product of your environment unless you change it, regardless of how hard somebody's life is. Right? You're a product of your upbringing. So perhaps, no mother crying, no Malaya crying, so just don't forget about that stuff though, right? It's not about making excuses. These are absolute traits that happen in life of people. It's not about excuses, but you are a product of your environment. So if you have someone that is, this monster mother, how do you expect you're going to be brought up in that situation? Right? So you can't really judge sometimes that way, about people, because especially if she had Meadow and everything became about Meadow, and you have Belinda, the paternal grandmother, saying, look, it was like a gift from God because Malaya was with Belinda's son. And Belinda has said that Malaya was like an amazing mom. So that's weird in a sense, because if she's this amazing mom, and then she turns to where she's pushing Lily and Jack away, then you really have to look at the postpartum thing of it more so than even the environment, because if she was this amazing mom prior to it, as Belinda has stated, then it makes you, again, look to the postpartum. Maybe some people just don't have emotions, sociopaths, whatever, right? But anyways, as for the mom not crying and stuff, I mean, that's why it's kind of like, in my eyes, like a big red flag to the fact that if she arrived early, if they felt like there was nothing truly wrong with the kids, you're not going to have any real emotions because you already know that the kids are just fine somewhere else. There has to be something to all of this. We know that.
Happened to these kids.
That's something that he has stated all along, that it's something that has to come from him. Honestly, he wanted, mother didn't shed a tear.
Now, I know you can't speak on Daniel's behalf, but what does he really truly believe happened to these kids?
That's something that he has stated all along, that it's something that has to come from him. He believes.
This is where she's just really stumbling. She knows the actual answer. We've already really discussed this, to be honest with you. She's stumbling over it, Bottom line is he's questioning why the mom arrived early and stuff like that, right? I mean, I think if Daniel's has nothing to do with this, he's going to speculate like any of us, but yet he's living it, right? He might know the answer. He might not know the answer. He might think he knows the answer. Either way, he's living this reality. So if he doesn't know what happened, maybe this is why, he thinks that the children are okay out there, and it's just a matter of finding them. Maybe that's why he keeps referencing it. If I have to keep looking for them, I will. And I'm going to keep sticking it out there in the news, right? Going to keep putting it out there. You guys aren't going to get away with this type of thing. If you guys did anything to Lily and Jack, you're not going to get away with it. Hence why he said those words, eh? But anyways, plausible. Don't know.
I think he believes that they were picked up by now, like that they were abducted, because there's no sign of them in the woods. He doesn't believe they're in the woods.
Uh-huh. So he really doesn't believe that mom had anything to do with it.
So Brandon, just quickly. So where's this information from? Maybe look at the new boyfriend she got in a relationship with. Is there any receipts to that at all? by chance. Then moved on to his mom's property in the middle. Then moved on to his mom's property. Maybe look at the new boyfriend she got in a relationship with. Then moved on to the mom's property in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by family. Wait a second. Are we talking about Daniel or Malaya? Because it sounds like, is this where that whole perhaps open relationship got spiraled around? Is that, or is there, I live here where she was. You were saying Belinda said that she was a great mom when she was involved. Trying to catch up to speed. So yes, when Belinda or when Malaya was with Cody, Belinda said it was like, she was just basically, was a gift to be a mother, right? Like she just had the gift of being a good mother. That's just the Tennessee. So where's this talk of some boyfriend that moved on to his mom? So boyfriend refers to her. His mom's refers to Daniel in the middle of nowhere. Got me confused, Brandon. Got my head hurting.
That's something I don't know because, like, you always have your line of doubt, right? Like, you always have your theories and your things. So I can't speak on his behalf on that. Like,
yeah, I understand. I just know that they both used each other as an alibi and in the morning in regards to the situation.
Absolutely. And no, I don't believe he believed or believes that Malaya had anything to do with the children missing.
According to Daniel, that would be correct. He doesn't believe that Malaya had anything to do with the children's disappearance.
A question that I have is, did Malaya have, or do you know, if Malaya had her own cell phone?
Yes, she has her own cell phone. I've called her on it.
Okay. And Daniel?
Brandon, because you said, where did it go? Because you said this. That's where I'm confused. Who are you referring to? Maybe look at the new boyfriend she got in a relationship with, then moved on to his mom's property. Maybe, like, what boyfriend are you referring to? Then moved on to his mom's new. Maybe look at the new boyfriend before she got in a relationship with. Then moved on to his mom's property. Oh, you referring to Daniel? Maybe I just read that totally wrong. I was like, what the fuck? Because in this thing we heard about open relationship, and the interviewer lady says, like, no, I wasn't going that way. You don't need to yell at me. I'm not a fucking retard. When she got together with Daniel after Belinda's son. Fuck you, dude. Seriously. Don't talk to me like I'm a fucking idiot. I'm sitting here trying to read all these different chats going down. Take a chill pill. Jeez. Fucking come in here talking like that. You try running a YouTube channel and you see a mixed match of different messages. I'm so sorry if I wasn't bowing down to only your messages. I was just trying to make sense of them. So you chill out.
Has his own cell phone.
Absolutely, but they're a very open couple.
Okay, all right. Yeah, no, I was just curious.
I see that. Did you think Malaya met somebody else type deal?
Oh, no, that's not where I was going with this. No. No, I was actually thinking back to when Daniel had said that he had gone out looking for the children and that the police...
I think he was saying, like, about the phone or something like that. Like, meaning I think that's what she was referencing, because even I was like, well, wait, what do you mean open relationship? Hence why when I saw your message there, Brandon, that I thought you were referring to like something like that. Excuse me for being a moron. No, there wasn't a party. No.
He had offered up his phone to the police to check the GPS and, all that sort of thing, right?
Absolutely, yeah. No, they do have separate cell phones.
Okay. All right.
And the cops even gave Daniel a cell phone while they took Daniel's cell phone. So, like, yeah,
Right.
no.
Okay.
I don't know, like I said, like whatever she has offered up or whatever she has done, if she had a lie detector test or whatever she has done, I can't speak on her behalf anymore because I haven't seen her since literally that Saturday, but I haven't spoken to her since that Sunday.
So did it come as a shock to Daniel that she actually up and left him?
Yes, 100%. Like because one moment there was an altercation at the end of the driveway, which was me and one of Malaya's family members screaming at each other. And the cops were called down. So when the cops came down, she has offered up or whatever she has done, if she had a lie.
I want to listen to that more carefully. One second. Talking about where Daniel and Malaya lived, or lives. Well, at least Daniel does. It's in frickin' nowhere's land. Boony ass land. Okay, I want to listen to that part carefully now about this.
Daniel's cell phone while they took Daniel's cell phone. So, like, yeah,
Right.
no.
Okay.
I don't know, like I said, like whatever she has offered up or whatever she has done, if she had a lie detector test or whatever she has done, I can't speak on her behalf anymore because I haven't seen her since literally that Saturday, but I haven't spoken to her since that Sunday. So.
Okay, I do want to say this. Okay, is that Brandon? Please, I do want you to be. You don't have to be in here if you don't want to, but you might live in that area and have a better understanding of everything, right? Because you live in that area. But to myself, I live on West Coast Canada. Susie as well might have no clue or maybe isn't paying attention. I'm not sure what she's actually talking about. But please don't talk to us like we're stupid idiots because you have more information. Okay? I'm not trying to be rude to you because in a sense, but I feel like you're being disrespectful to me by saying like, holy cow, aren't you listening? Please, I'm trying to run a channel and I'm trying to do coverage for Lily and Jack. I realize you care about the case. I realize you're from that area, but think of it from outsiders that don't have that same perspective as you, or that I'm trying to look at a bunch of different messages and trying to keep up with what people are saying. I was confused by yours at first because of this boyfriend thing. And I was like, wait, does that have something to do with the open? Oh, I'm definitely not getting A&W right now. Or my husband, he says, okay. So I appreciate everyone's perspective, but please don't get condescending to people because they don't have maybe the same knowledge that you do. Okay. All right then. I'm definitely not getting A&W right now. Okay. So you're not getting me okay, hold on. So you mean you're not getting me a matzo burger? Shit. So you mean you're not getting me a matzo burger? Yeah, there we go. My husband is so good to me. Okay. Really? Are you really going to sit there and keep talking like that? Okay? You got one more time. I don't give a shit who you are. But if you're going to fucking talk like that, then I'm going to boot your ass from here. Or you could just leave. Because I don't give a shit who you are. That's not how you talk to people. You be nice or get out of here. Whatever information you might have and whatever, don't care. Okay? Simple as that. One more time, if you want to say something, I'm going to block you. Then you can go somewhere else and listen to it. Is that so disrespectful? Okay. Yeah, at this point, I honestly don't care who he's referring to be honest with you. I don't put up with nobody's shit. Nobody's more special than the other person. Sorry, my husband. I just don't know what, like I said, don't come off with arrogance, please. Like I said, you're no better, any better than anybody else. You were just saying Susie is an outsider. She's just such, I don't know where Westville is. I'm from Western Canada. I don't know where Westville is. I know where Pictou County is. I know where they live on the map. That's what I know. I know that there's some places around there, but I'm focused on Jack and Lily and, 1407. So again, I don't know your area. I don't care less about that part of the map, right? All I care about is the information that's coming out from the family members and the people that are talking and what Ali have to say. I don't know if the children are in some sort of Westville area, Blackville area, Whiteville area. That's all I'm saying. Well, you know what? Either the chat gets better, right? Or Brandon, you can leave because you're the one that's the root here of causing people, of insulting people. Okay? I don't know where this arrogance. You might as well go sit on DD's channel or Mike Damon's channel because there's a lot of narcissistic arrogance here going on, talking to us, down to us like we're morons. Bye. Okay, I'll just block you actually. Ban user block. The nerve. To be honest with you. You know what? Don't give a shit. Okay? You honestly think he's going to solve the case? No. Anyways, he can stay away. Dumbass. Okay, let's get back on track, guys. Okay? I'm from that area and you're doing a great job. Thank you so much. The focus, like I said, that's what you call somebody that is full of themselves. That if somebody doesn't say something the right way, again, anger problems, dude, who pissed in your cornflakes? I don't know. Either way, we're going to carry on because we want to listen to this part especially. Thanks, Short and Sassy. I'm short and sassy too. I actually don't really feel like I need to know the area, Maggie. Not in that way. Like, I've looked at the map. I know that you guys got some little townies over there and stuff like that. I'm not here to figure out exactly where the searchers need to search and stuff like that. What I'm here to focus on is the words and what's being said about the day in question. I don't need to know anything actually about the map besides the stuff that I put up on Google and stuff like that. Maybe when Donna Serafina's. But as for that, again, maybe another channel wants to pull up maps and talk all day long about that stuff, right? I'm focusing on the facts of the case surrounding the 1407. The only thing I really want to know, how far does that mother live? I already looked that up weeks ago. They said that she was from Wentworth. Looked it up. I looked at the different reservations around there, how far they are. I look at that stuff. No, I disagree with you on this one, Maggie. I'm not to say that what you don't feel like you're right, but for me, I don't feel like that's right. Right? Yes, absolutely. Meaning, just like I just kind of said, right? If I need to know information, I'll go look for it. Just like when the news came out with that stuff with that frickin', what's it called? I'd have to look on my map again. 1 second here. What's that place called? Get on my map. 1 sec. Glengarry Station, right? That stuff. But am I going to sit here and go, oh, well, I need to know right now exactly where Westville is or something like that, or that Susie's out of Westville. Like I said, I'm not sitting here trying to sit here and be able to read everything as I'm trying to do this stuff. That was the expectation of, F-tard there. Anyways, I'm getting back on track. Okay, guys? So, as for whatever his name was, again, he can go take a long walk off a short pier, or a short walk off a long. No, it's a short walk. Anyway, back on track.
So did it come as a shock to Daniel that she actually up and left him?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, like, I mean, I've heard of Westville, but meaning I wasn't sitting there watching the chat. That's my point. Like, I wasn't sitting there going, oh, I know exactly where Westville is. Do I know Westville somewhere over there? Absolutely. At the moment, have I stared at a map in probably a couple weeks? I looked at it once the other day, but I was looking at certain stuff. So yes, I've heard the name Westville, but he's sitting there arguing, basically calling Susie a dumbass, me a dumbass, because he's typing up a storm and I'm not keeping up with his chat. That's my point about it. Is that, again, I do what I need to do for the information that's out there. But at this moment, like I said, can I tell you exactly where Westville is on the map? No, I know it's over to the east or whatever it is. Okay. Can we all just get along and have fun? All right.
Like because one moment there was an altercation at the end of the driveway, which was me and one of Malaya's family members screaming at each other. And the cops were called down. So when the cops came down, they took Malaya aside. They took my mother aside because my mother said she was part of the altercation, which she was. I was as well. And my aunt.
Okay. I gotta wrap my brain around exactly who is all fighting here. Okay, let me
Daniel's cell phone. Well, they took Daniel's cell phone, so right. No.
Okay.
I don't know, like I said, like whatever she has offered up or whatever she has done, if she had a lie detector test or whatever she has done, I can't speak on her behalf anymore because I haven't seen her since literally that Saturday, but I haven't spoken to her since that Sunday.
So did it come as a shock to Daniel that she actually up and left him?
Yes, 100%. Like because one moment there was an altercation at the end of the driveway.
Okay, so this part, right, I believe, in a sense, from Logan, like meaning I don't find that this is being regurgitated information of, like I passed the lie detector test. So unless he came home with a freaking Medal of Honor thing saying I passed the lie detector test, that actually said it besides his words. But this Logan is there, right? So I do believe that this all transpired, that, one thing was going to happen. Baby Meadow was supposed to go with Logan, right? Then next thing you know, Malaya's mom, Cindy Marie, says something to her. Next thing you know, this whole ordeal thing happens and there's this argument or chance, obviously at the end of the driveway. Okay, so let's see.
Was me and one of Malaya's family members screaming at each other. And the cops were called down. So when the cops came down, they took Malaya aside. They took my mother aside because my mother said she was part of the altercation, which she was. I was as well. And my aunt. We all got spoken to by the police. Malaya literally told the police officer right then and there, like, this is the happiest I've ever been. I feel the safest when I'm with here. Like, even when...
Oh, I hear my husband. See, guys? Same thing. An hour before this, Malaya told RCMP she was the happiest and safest with me. It was a different Malaya, right? Now, I believe that was said with Mackenzie being there for her to actually remember it, perhaps the way it was said.
When she left, Officer Mason was dead shocked, as was Daniel, that she actually left. Because she told the officer that it was the safest she's ever been. So when...
after her mother got there?
That was before her mother got to her.
And I just want to clarify, when you're saying that, she was saying that this is the safest she's ever felt, meaning in your company and your family's company.
Yes.
Correct? Yeah.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
So, to know the safest she's ever been. So
Was that before or after her mother got there?
that was before her mother got to her.
And I just want to clarify, when you're saying that, she was saying that this is the safest she's ever felt, meaning in your company and your family's company.
Yes.
Correct? Yeah.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
So, to know that he got home to go contact her, that he was blocked and deleted, was a complete and utter shock.
How old is Malaya?
Malaya is 27, I believe.
And Daniel's 30.
32, I believe.
32, okay.
Okay. I just want to mention.
Oh my God, AI Henry. Seriously. My husband, he literally just walked in with my matzo burger. Oh, my matzo burger and onion rings. Gotta love A&W onion rings. So yeah, so and just as my husband drops it, because I'm like, yeah, the camera's off, I'm muted type of thing. Yeah, you're good, because he's like, are you live? And I'm like, yeah, but don't worry about it. And then all of a sudden I look up and there's AI Henry. I'm still gonna call you AI Henry, by the way. I gotta hear that. I need to hear that part again. And anyone, of course, that's coming in, please, again, this is about Jack and Lily. Please keep it that way. In chat, none of this, like I said, well, we got rid of the person that was causing the issue there. But anyways, please like and share for Jack and Lily. Please help Belinda get answers for her missing grandchildren and any other family members that truly care about the fact that Jack and Lily are missing. Okay.
There's 211 people in the room.
Jesus.
Could we get people to tap, please, and just boost the channel? It really, really, really helps the channel a lot. So if you're sitting here watching and you're enjoying the content, please support the channel.
Yes, tap away.
Oh, and I described Daniel and Malaya's relationship great, to be totally honest. Like, for every time I've been around and been there, they've completely got along. So I don't know. Every relationship has issues, but I've never. I described their relationship as great. Like, they became very close. They had a child together. He raises their kids. She helped raise his other kid. Like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see any issues.
And has Daniel had the opportunity, since this has happened, to visit Meadow?
No.
So who's preventing him from? Is it Malaya that's preventing him from doing that?
From what I understand, it's Children's Aid.
Sorry, from what you understand, it's who? Since this has happened, to visit Meadow?
No.
So who's preventing him from? Is it Malaya that's preventing him from doing that?
From what I understand, it's Children's Aid.
Sorry, from what you understand, it's who?
Children's Aid.
Why would Children's Aid withhold access to his child?
I'm not sure. And this is the type of situation that I've never been in.
Like, he even, I mean.
And he has proof.
Okay. I can eat my matzo burger, but I don't believe her there at all. She knows exactly why. She knows exactly why, but of course she doesn't want to answer it. So she's like, I don't know. It's the first time I've ever been in this situation. She knows exactly why. Daniel knows why.
Proved himself over and over again. So an CPS issue with this is kind of not my spot to say. So what goes on there? But no, from what I understand, and this is the only thing I'm going to say about it, is I believe it is CPS that is doing this right now.
So is it
Like,
Malaya
I'm
or is
surprised
it
that
Malaya's
they-
mom that has access to the little one right now?
The baby.
So this has to be something, right, guys? What's your thoughts on that part of it? Like, if she's saying, what was it? Children's Aid, CPS, whatever. That's the reason why, but she doesn't know the actual reason why that Daniel's being kept away from Meadow and stuff like that. There had to be something of some sort of violence or something, abuse, something. There had to be something for her to say, to why she is able to have Meadow, but Daniel can't come see. Yes, that's the cousin, Scandinavia. Yeah. Because I don't know, to be honest with you. Someone that's from the res can probably explain that better. It has to have something to do with, maybe only half and mix or something. But there has to be something that has to do with something severe that Malaya was either fabricating or telling the truth on, and why she couldn't look at Daniel. There has to be something there, right? But I always question mark it because, people lie all the time, to say stuff. So it's just, how do you have somebody that's claiming he's this do-gooder and then this happening with the children? Somebody help me make sense of that.
Meadow is in custody of her mother. Like
Okay.
Malaya has custody of Meadow at the moment.
I don't understand why they wouldn't allow Daniel access.
I don't understand why, if this is a case.
And Malaya has the baby.
Unless she
Exactly.
made allegations of domestic abuse. But even then, it would have to go to family court, and he should be allowed at minimal right now supervised access with his children.
Absolutely, and we've been going through all that. But as of right now, we're working on that. So that's something I don't really want to discuss, is like his doings with the children at the moment.
Right. And that's fair enough.
And I don't believe she's met anybody else. Like I said she felt the safest in everything there. So everybody's saying that maybe she met somebody new. I don't believe that. Her and Daniel were great. So I can't.
So just your gut instinct. What do you think? If you're not comfortable, that's fine. I mean, what is your gut instinct? What's going on with Malaya? Why is she doing all of this?
I believe her mother's kind of manipulative. From what I've seen of her,
Why would the mom want to do this?
I don't know. But what I've met of the mother, I've been Daniel and her have been together 3 years. This is the first time I have ever met the mother. And like I said, and when you get vibes from people, she just, even when I was putting my phone number in Malaya's phone for her, when she was leaving, her mother seemed like I was doing something wrong. Like, she was like, "What are you doing with Malaya's phone? Like, what are you doing?" I said, "I'm giving her my number so she has me to call. Like, I'm a safe place." Like,
Right.
why are you being so nosy on what I'm doing to your daughter's phone? Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, why? But when I did try to call Malaya afterwards, like on that Sunday, to check on Meadow and to check on her, she answered. And as soon as she answered, what I got was, I said, "How is Meadow?" She goes, "Meadow is fine." And then I hear in the background, "Who are you talking to? Hang that phone up."
So she's very toxic. Yeah.
Yes. So then when I called back the next time, because I'm very persistent, I'm going to call the next day, my number was blocked. So, little trick on your phone, if you're blocked, you can private your number and it will still go through. So I did call, but I didn't say anything because I wanted to see who would answer the phone. Her mother answered the phone, and she went Malaya's phone, so I did not talk, and I just hung up the phone because I knew I wasn't going to get anywhere. You're a 27-year-old girl and your mother has custody of your phone. I think there's an issue there.
Interesting.
She seems very toxic to me, and like I said,
Controlling, like a
yes, very
controlling.
controlling. And that's how Daniel has described her to me because
Yeah.
I've asked about her.
Yeah.
Jack.
That's just it, like she said, because that's how Daniel has described her to me. She doesn't really see, I'm sure, Malaya's mom, Logan, I mean. So everything's about a description of how Daniel's described. It doesn't mean it's not accurate. I mean, obviously, I believe the cousin when she says that she called, right? Um, and then basically, it's kind of like mother's got control over the phone. I'm sure mother's taken very much control over this situation, and Malaya's probably enjoying every ounce of it. What's all this CPS shit about, though? If they both neglected these children, in a sense, and these children disappeared under both their care, why does she still have rights to have Meadow with her? Unless, I don't know, the world can be a messed up place when it comes to the stupid shit that government and stuff, CPS and that do and don't do. We see multiple times children lose their lives because CPS or whatever in the United States and probably in Canada, I'm sure too, just make awful choices for the children. It's almost over.
It's time to go to bed, baby.
Yeah.
No, it's time to go to bed, baby. That 3-hour late nap was not a great idea. I'm sorry. But yeah, no, yeah. So if there's not anything else, I'm going to try to get this little creature to go to bed. But yeah, I kind of hope that I helped squash some.
Logan, I want to thank you again so much for trusting this channel. I understand that you haven't ever spoken out. You have not spoken to the media.
I won't speak to them again. I've been contacted daily.
Well, again, I just want to thank you so much. I really, really appreciate and the trust that you have in me, in the channel, in our mods, and you are
because
that part's over. I think like in any job, there's your lazy butts and then your people that work hard. We've seen it time and time again. I think it goes in like most jobs. You got crooked cops, good cops type of thing. But where I work, well, actually all the agents. But yeah, no, there's some lazy. But but anyways, for that. So how many people in here, just to ask, okay, just put a 1 for yes, 2 for no. Does anyone in here, 1 for yes, 2 for no, believe that the children are alive and hidden? Just without saying, oh, it's attached to Cindy. Does anyone at all believe that the children are alive and hidden? 1 for yes, 2 for no. And I'm going to eat as I wait for those to come in. So, by the way, for the poll, Malaya has 48% for red flags, Daniel 28%, Malaya's mom Cindy 14%, and 10% say none of them have anything to do with it whatsoever. I gotta put my thing back on. I feel naked without it. I'm back. I'm Canadian. The question was, Krista, was Does anyone believe that the children are alive and hidden? 1 for yes, 2 for no. Exactly right. The information I need to know, I need to know. And rest in peace, Nicola Bully. Sad case. 1. Okay, we're getting some ones out of this. So my thing is this. For the most part, then, if you're saying 2 for no, then that to me kind of would reference that Malaya's mom, the timing that she arrived after the police and all that stuff, then that means that you really don't believe that Malaya or her mom have hidden the children and they're alive at all, even though everything would point that way the most. Like, meaning if you took that information about no tears with Malaya, no tears with the mom, she arrives after the police do, which is weird. Daniel says, right? Her mom's toxic. She doesn't want to go with, but yet she goes with her mom. So all those things that point to that the children are alive, in a sense, or that would point that way, then that means that you really don't believe that Malaya or her mother probably had anything to do with this then. And you're thinking more on Daniel's side that he had something to do with it? Is that the case? Because, like I said, because that information fully leads to believing that Lily and Jack are more so alive and taken because of the oddness and no tears, right? I mean, that would be the best outcome, Krista. I think if the family hid the children, there'd be severe legal consequences. The only option there then, somewhat, is that then this would have to be an abduction by some stranger, to be honest with you. I mean, I can't see Daniels claiming to pass a lie detector and all that stuff, and the RCMP are just sitting there waiting for him to hang himself. Maybe they're making him feel a certain way and then pounce, and then maybe why Malaya left. It could be. I don't know. Fuck that. Like, this is honestly, it's a mind meld. Anyway, let me so that was for that. I'm gonna take this down now. Let me just go to, I had a couple things up from yesterday that I was gonna watch. Let me see here. Stop screen. Share. So it's a really little bit of a mind meld.
A week of searching through dense woods in Pictou County for 6-year-old Lily and 4-year-old Jack Sullivan, crews are stepping back.
When transitioning from an active search to a scaled-back search, the probability of survival is taken into consideration. We are scaling back because it's time to move to a different part of the search.
The children are thought to have wandered away from their home in Lansdowne Station on Friday morning. Search teams found a single boot print they believe could have belonged to one of them, but no other evidence has turned up since.
There could be different types of things that we may want to try and get back in if we are able to locate anything that may come up that the searchers didn't go catch the first time.
The children's stepfather, Daniel Martell, is devastated, but not giving up hope.
They can't go forever. Everyone's exhausted.
100 days isn't enough. A whole lifetime isn't enough for them. I just want to find them.
RCMP confirms its major crime.
That's what I'm talking about right there. Matzo burger's just fine there. Yeah, I'm just enjoying the last mouthful of it. Got a couple onion rings left. Okay. But that comment right there, right, is similar to other comments that he's made. What does he mean, right? A whole lifetime isn't long enough for them. That's weird. But it depends on how he's looking at.
Exhausted. 100 days isn't enough. A whole lifetime isn't enough for them. I just want to find them.
RCMP confirms its major crimes unit.
Right? So put that in the context, though, of, right, saying that if he believes that that the children are missing and that they're being hidden from him and something's going on, you know, then I can understand that type of wording, like, you know, you ain't going to get away with this shit. I'm going to find them. You know, you're not going to fuck me over like this, basically. I don't know. It's fucking strange. It's just strange. Strange.
Unit has been involved from the beginning.
Can't really speculate on the investigation, obviously. That wouldn't be fair to the process. But we are constantly reviewing everything that's been done, looking at all different facets.
The children's stepfather says he was interviewed by investigators this week.
They asked me everything. I gave them all of the information. I gave them my phone. I asked for lie detector tests. I've done everything. I asked for drug tests. I've done everything.
After thousands of hours looking for Jack and Lily, everyone involved is exhausted, but still intent on finding them. Todd, since day one, 160 people have joined the search. I'm told by people who live in the area that homes and barns have been searched. While RCMP is scaling back, they are saying that the search for Lily and Jack will continue. Todd?
So we understand it's tough terrain. You've been there a few days now. What have you heard from searchers?
The weather has been quite challenging. You know, just moments ago it was raining, and that's kind of what we've seen throughout these last 6 days. There's been rain, sun, and fog, and that's made it quite difficult. Searchers are exhausted. A lot of them who were here today have been here since Friday morning. And I'm told, I saw just yesterday a search member who was injured and needed medical assistance. So the area is also just impacted by Fiona. There's just a lot of things going on that have impacted the search that have made it challenging. Todd?
All right, Hafsa Arf continuing our coverage tonight from Westville, Nova Scotia. And there's more reporting on this, and you can watch that full RCMP.
Hey, that's from Westville, Nova Scotia. There you go. That's where Westville is. It's in Nova Scotia. Now we know. All right, I was going to watch one more. Yeah, I just hope. You know what? I would love for the kids to be hidden. I would. That would just be the most amazing outcome that something like that happened. Because if that's not the case, I can't buy into this whole abduction thing by a stranger. I don't know. You know, it could be true. I just don't see it. Is that the one? I think there was another little one here. I'm just playing a couple clips, guys.
Physical search for the missing Sullivan siblings in
so
Lansdowne
low?
Station over the weekend. 6-year-old Lily and 4-year-old Jack have been missing for a month now.
Supposed to be there to actually run people up and down the pipelines.
Ground search and rescue volunteers once again back combing the dense forest and expanding beyond the initial search zone. Search manager Amy Hansen says about 75 volunteers were in the woods on Saturday. in an area where a boot print was located in an earlier search. Hansen says the conditions are challenging.
No, they were extending into newer areas that haven't been searched and finishing off and cleaning up some areas. The boot print was on the pipeline, which is why we're extending our search efforts down the pipeline. We don't know for sure it was from the children, but it's the only real thing we've had to go on thus far. So we're just kind of investigating that further. These people have been out weekend after weekend and day after day, putting themselves through this. The families are understanding and letting them come out. And we're actually starting to see some people that just physically and emotionally can't return to the search at this point.
RCMP say the investigation remains active, and they urge anyone with information on the children's whereabouts to bring it forward.
My brain hurts. Yeah, I gotta do it one more time. I probably can't play these things enough, to be honest with you. Drive me absolutely batty. But we're gonna do it again. We're gonna do it again. We're gonna listen again.
Just staying as hopeful as possible. I want them home. I want to hold them. And I want them home. What happened was we woke up, I heard them playing in the next room beside us, and I was drifting in and out of sleep, and they're not the type of kids that we tell them not to go outside on their own. We always make sure that we're out there with them, watching them, and they happen to just get out that sliding door, and we can't hear it when it opens, and they were outside playing, but we weren't aware of it at the time, and the next thing we knew, it was quiet. And we get up and I tell him, my partner, Daniel, I tell him, do you hear the kids? And he says, no. And we get up instantly. We're looking outside. We're looking everywhere, yelling for them. And I instantly just call 911. I just had the instinct I needed to call. They're both really go-lucky children. They're so sweet. They talk to anyone. They'll talk your ear off. They will speak to anyone in a store, everyone. They're just extremely sweet kids. I appreciate the huge search effort going on right now. But we've been pushing for an Amber Alert, which hasn't been issued. Not just that they could possibly be abducted, which it is a possibility that they could have been, but just an alert to let everyone know that they are missing. We had people text me saying that they weren't aware someone else let them know that they were missing, and it would just be nice if everyone could be alerted. We thought maybe that we found tracks, but it's still uncertain. It's been raining and they're probably soaking wet, but with the sun today, I'm hopeful that they are feeling warm. We're all filled with pain and sorrow because we just want them found. We want them home. Everyone loves them. They are definitely verbal, and they do have possible autism, but it's not extreme autism. It's just they have issues with school, and they don't catch up with the other kids. I just want to remain hopeful. But there's always, in a mother's mind, you're always thinking the worst. Last night was one of the worst nights because I didn't have them in their beds. And I don't want to go through that another night without them.
The last few days have been very stressful. I mean, ever since the Friday morning when we noticed that the children were gone. Immediately jumped in the vehicle, surveyed all the areas, many dirt roads, many culverts as I could, and waited for the police to get there. I'm out here still searching, still fighting to try to find them. That's all I can do.
The message is still, if anyone knows anything?
If anybody knows anything, just come forward as soon as possible. 2 little kids are still out there, I want to find them. That's really all I can do. Still searching every day. I'm waiting for information. I have to let them do a lot of their stuff with the aircrafts and everything else, and dogs and searchers. There's a lot of stuff that needs to be coordinated, and I can't just go running through the woods. I want to, but I just can't right now because the search is just so far out. We were searching. We covered everywhere possible. Even in the first day, we did. Even with me running through the woods, I was ahead of the helicopters and ahead of the drones and stuff like that. Screaming as loud as I can. And just until my throat hurt. Running through water that was up to my waist. And as soon as I got back, I wasn't allowed back in the woods until a man dressed in a military outfit said I could go back into the woods.
4 days into the search for his missing stepkids, Lily and Jack Sullivan, Daniel Martell is pleading with the public to keep their eyes peeled. But he has begun to lose hope they are anywhere in the vicinity.
I hate being wet and cold, so they immediately would have came right back into the house. The only 2 prints are right beside the house facing the road, and then that's it.
Martell wants the search to be extended to include provincial borders in case the children were abducted, a reality he says is becoming more and more likely.
Post any officers they can get, have them to Brunswick border, PI border, and get them at every airport possible.
Martell confirmed that when the 2 children went missing from the home behind me, Lily was wearing a pink shirt and pink rain boots. She was also carrying a white backpack with strawberries on it. Martell says although he didn't see Jack that morning, he is believed to be wearing a brown shirt, brown pants with a pull-up diaper on underneath, and blue rain boots with dinosaurs on them. He also refuted the claim that the 2 children are nonverbal, saying while they are on the autism spectrum, they are quite trusting and say hi to everyone. According to Martell, his side of the family are currently the only ones at ground zero after Lily and Jack's mother left the county Saturday. But still, he remains, begging anyone with answers to come forward and bring his children home safe.
Anybody who has any information, or you think you've seen something or hear something, or any messages from friends about hearing something, just contact your local police services. Anything, guys. Anything.
Ella MacDonald, Global News, Lansdowne.
Okay. You know, somebody's just friggin' ass lying. So to me, if Malaya and him, let's say, did something together with the kids, okay? Let's say there was something together that they did. Honestly, you'd have to be a moron to bolt from that home the next day. You know, and do everything opposite of being together if you're partners in crime, in a sense, or if something happened and they did a crime. So then, if that doesn't make sense, right? Because it doesn't make sense that there's a cover-up and Malaya leaves. And everything points to that she's blaming Daniel then for something. And that she's protecting Daniel from Meadow. And, you know, she left because she wasn't safe there. Because something happened to the kids. But then you would think, right, that if that was the case, then you would think that the RCMP is on to him, right? And because there's something weird here. You guys know this. There's no way he's going to sit here and keep saying how wonderful of a guy he is. And yet bash Malaya down. So it could be the true sign of, you know, again, gaslight burner in a sense, you know, narcissistic perhaps. Because something's like, there's just something that's just wrong with this picture. Because there's no way, if there's something that happened together between the two of them, that Malaya would have left the next day. There has to be blame towards Daniel. There has to be a reason why CPS is involved. That is the biggest chunk of the picture. So, but then you have Daniel's side who's projecting the great guy, that Malaya didn't cry, that her mom didn't cry, that her mom arrived early, but yet the cousin says, we were searching for a time, but we just couldn't think of it. So logically, it would be more that Malaya left because of her blaming Daniel for it, hence why she doesn't look at him, and she wants out of there. And she's protecting her other child. And then that would mean that Daniel's full of shit, portraying this image to the media, to whatever, that he's this great guy, says he passed a polygraph test, did all this stuff and whatever. Accidentally hit my mic. Well, see, I don't believe in that stuff either, Drippy. Because sometimes I feel like I have to justify who I am, because that's just the way I kind of am. I always feel like I have to justify myself to people for some reason. You know, like, no, if you knew me, then you would know that I would never do that. You know, I'm so great. I'm so nice. I'm so this. I'm so helpful. I'm so this. I don't really have to do it in real life. But I still kind of justify myself. You know, sometimes it's just like, but on here, even more so, like online, even more so, because it's like, you just want people to believe that you're being honest and truthful. And it feels like you're like leading a horse to water. And then so many people are so negative and all that stuff. And you sit there and almost fight for your own, you know, the sake of who you are as a channel, and almost like stick up for yourself. But when really, at the end of the day, probably the less said, the better, because people will say and do what they want to do anyway. So I that's where, to me, it's like me saying the word to be honest a lot. Oh, so you're not being honest before? Oh, so you're not? No, I'm absolutely just a truthologist. Yeah. So, and then that typically in life, real life, I don't give a shit what people think of me. Actually, like, I don't, but I always want to seem to justify myself. So I don't believe that him saying he's nice is the thing, is a trigger. Could be. I'm just looking at the whole picture, and it just stinks. Like, there's lying going on here. You know, you don't play kumbaya in the morning and then she bolts the next day. To me, she's blaming him and she's protecting her other child. If that was the most logical part of all of this, I would say that after I think, and see, this is where I flip-flop like a fucking fish, because logically, it doesn't seem like they were abducted. RCMP didn't go down that route. They didn't issue an Amber Alert, didn't really meet the criteria. There was nothing found, okay? Now, trust me, you don't think that there would have been many footprints on the grass that they were playing outside in and stuff like that, trampled grass, that, you know, any person probably would have been able to see that they were playing around, fresh footprints everywhere, right? Don't you think that there would have been fresh footprints everywhere? So if I was really to look at this straight on, even though Malaya has, you know, maybe she's just nervous and she's just, you know, like handling it her way. But if you committed a crime together, in a sense, it just, you don't abandon ship the next day and then protect your other child with CPS and stuff like that. Yeah, it was raining. It was raining the day. Yeah. You know, I mean, if it's raining, even more footprints, to be honest with you. Like, if it's raining, absolutely footprints everywhere, to be honest, more than if it's dry. And it was raining that day. Like I said, there were like none of this, oh, there's a couple footprints up here. There should have been footprints everywhere. You got two kids trampling on the grass, walking, there's going to be fresh footprints. It's gravel, for Pete's sakes. They can't find hide nor hair of them in the woods. We might have a situation here of Daniel trying to be duping everybody, and Malaya left because of something that happened, that Daniel did something, that it was Daniel's fault or something. She's blaming Daniel protecting her other child. And that seems the most logical line, to be honest with you, out of any of this. Do you guys think so? No? Do you guys think I'm just a whack job trying to make sense of something that's hard to make sense of? I don't know. Yeah, but that's not the case. Just another human. We already... So, that Malaya was not asked to leave, but she had... But they wanted Baby Meadow. So this could mean that Daniel's just spewing a whole bunch of shit. He could be that freaking hidden, freaking narcissistic person. That's more hidden. You know, the trickier ones. The ones that aren't easy to spot as much as the other ones are. That stand out more like a sore thumb. This is what I'm trying to wrap my brain around, right? With all this information, Daniel's trying to make himself look good, Malaya look bad. Is he punished? Like, and he's portraying that. And then he gets on there like he's this nice guy and is like, please don't bash Malaya. Yeah, something's very fucked up about this case for sure. It just seems like a more natural line of thinking that she left because she blames Daniel and is protecting the child. I know I flip-flop already today. I went from being on more Daniel's side. But it's just, honestly, I'm trying to wrap my brain around, you know, reading between the lines of what's truly happening, because Daniel's feeding us all this information of Malaya didn't cry. I was the one yelling. My mom said this. My mom said that. You know, it's almost like, again, it's almost like you're feeling like just two complete different stories going on here. If you love someone, you're not going to tell them why you have to leave the property and say that, Daniel, I have to do this. You know, like I need to take Meadow or else they're going to take Meadow away or something like that. And he walks around all clueless, like he doesn't know what the fuck is going on. I don't think this is just simply that the mother is a monster, meaning Cindy Murray. She might be controlling and she might be certain things. But if you're in a really healthy, loving relationship, you're not going to tell your partner why you're leaving it all. Of course you would. Of course you would. You're not going to tell them if you feel like they had something to do with something, or that you knew that he had something to do with something. Right? I get you there, Drippy. There's those psychos out there that will kill you just because you don't love them anymore. Well, I think that they're both negligent and probably both liars, but but it's about what happened to Jack and Lily, right? Like, that's the question. What happened to Jack and Lily? If Malay is blaming Daniel and whatever, but then again, then you go, well, why no arrest yet then? If Daniel's so guilty and it stares at you like a fucking thumb in a plum, then why no arrest? Yeah, but everything is that Daniel said, Daniel said, Daniel said, Daniel said, Daniel said, Daniel said, Daniel said. Yeah. Hmm. All right. I'm gonna get heading off, you guys. This has been 3.5 hour live. Even I still feel really shitty like before I started the live, but it's still there. Whatever head cold's going on here. At least my eyes aren't watering as bad as they were earlier. Some bug came and grabbed me, I guess, in the middle of the night and said, "Here, achoo, give you a flu." Well, that's the bottom line of everything, right? That's all I'm trying to understand myself. At what point did Jack and Lily, right? Who was it that took or did something to Jack and Lily? Why don't we have answers for that yet? I don't understand. I don't feel like these people freaking, landed off of a freaking science ship here and that they're these smart freaking individuals. I think that to a point they are. I think Daniel's definitely smarter than Malaya. And which could lead to be conniving as well. But that's just really the bottom line of it. Are we going to get answers soon from RCMP? Just so hard to put yourself in somebody else's shoes, like I said, with Belinda and, like what happened to her grandbabies. These are her son's children. Regardless if there was no, a lot of interaction there for the last couple of years. This is still her grandbabies. That's the only reason why she's doing all of this, and speaking with me. She wants to know what happened to her grandbabies. All right. I might do another live later. I'll see. I'm not sure. Other than that, you guys, if you have any information, send it to @crimeandshame@gmail.com. You can go to the It's a Crime and Shame Messenger. There, leave a post or something like that. Again, thank you, Belinda, for everything that you've done. Thank you, Daniel, for your information as well and stuff like that. Appreciate you guys. Just honestly, just give a like and a share for Jack and Lily, please. And hopefully one day that this gets figured out sooner than later. It's darn tough when you're dealing with children. It's one of the saddest things anyone ever has to go through is not knowing. What does that say? However, Malay's statement starts with what happened. Yeah. Well, what happened was, yeah. Well, that's what, that typically does that. I'm going to go hurt my brain some more, and think about it all. Maybe. again, you typically want to have bodies, or at least the children, one way or the other. Anyways, appreciate you guys. I'm gonna go now. I'm feeling really tired. But my mom, you know what it is there, Henry? It was the fact that I had the matzo burger and onion rings, and then a freaking fluffy diet root beer on there. Now all of a sudden I need a nappy poo on there. Hi, Valerie. Yeah, I know. Well, the reporter did say what happened. Like I remember there is a piece where you hear the reporter saying like, so what happened or something like that. But at the end of the day, you know, even with this new insight and information, it just makes you have more questions than answers. Anyways, okay, guys, bless you. Have yourselves a wonderful Friday. Happy Friday, TGIF, yeah, and all that. And all right, my husband, he's home now, so I'm going to go visit him for a while. And thank you guys for everything, okay?
I'm not